Princess, Dr. Lu is out to see you. The maid's voice began to ring outside the door. Come in, please. When Lu Jing came in, Qinya was standing on one side. Seeing him come in, he got up and went out. Sit down, please. The flower on the street pointed to the position opposite him, with a calm tone. Lu Jing said thanks before he sat down. Is this trip for Yunji? Mo Shanghua poured a cup of tea for her, but she asked herself, Yunji's chest injury is much better now. After some time, if the wound is scarred, I will start to treat it. The specific treatment in my heart has been counted now. As for the herbs I need, I will come to you if I need them. Lu Jing shook his head when he heard her talking so freely. Not for that. The eyebrows on the street are slightly frowning, slightly unexpected. After pondering for a long time, Lu Zhenkai said slowly, I have some opinions about the poison in your Second Highness. I want to tell you that it may be useful for you to develop an antidote. Dr. Lu has his own opinions, so let's talk about them. Lu Zheng has his own opinion, but it's not a surprise to see flowers on the street. After all, although Lu Zheng's medical skills are different from her, it is only because of the limitations of this era. If we only talk about traditional Chinese medicine, we can say that it is not different from her. Today, he would say that he didn't know how to treat it, but it was Yan Beiqing's advice. Lu Zheng nodded, and his face became rigorous. According to today's pulse, the Second Highness has been poisoned for some time, but fortunately it's not long. It's not difficult to untie it. According to the symptoms at the time of poisoning, we may use Hungfeng, Ganoderma lucidum, Yanjiao. Listen to the name of a series of medicinal materials in Lu Zheng's mouth, but the color of flower eyes on the street is slowly coagulating. These are the ingredients Yan Beiqing gave her today. This poison is unusual. If Lu Zheng really saw it for the first time, he would never have said the ingredients of the antidote so accurately. Even if she had to go back and study for a few days, she could work out the antidote. How could Lu Zheng study it for the first time? In fact, he has always been a member of Yan Beiqing. With this idea in her heart, she can't help looking at Lu Zheng's expression. Finally, add Poria cocos and take it as a pill, or you may be able to detoxify it. Lu Zheng didn't find the exploration of flowers on the street, and continued to talk with his face unchanged. Until he finished, he later found that Mo Shanghua's look was different from that of the past, and his eyes were shining. However, in an instant, his face soon recovered as usual, as if he didn't notice her inquiry. If you don't have these herbs, you can hand them over to Wei Chen, who will help you collect them. He didn't want to say anything. He had his own reason. He didn't want to break the balance, so he nodded faintly. I've written down what you just said. I'll start from this aspect later. It's not urgent to deal with medicinal materials. After a pause, her eyes were sincere and she said in a soft voice, Thank you very much. I always come to help when I have problems. For a doctor, it's a matter of pride to be able to cure a person with difficult and complicated diseases. Wei Chen is just a doctor's instinct, and the princess doesn't have to care too much. Lu Zhenwei droops his eyes and his voice is clear and gentle. You always helped me anyway, and I'll remember. Mo Shanghua shakes her head and does not take Lu Zheng's words for granted. No one has the right to accept the help of others with ease. Since she has accepted the love of others, she should always remember that she will repay the love when she has the chance. If the princess is really upset, she will be a micro-minister and treat you as a friend. There is no need to thank her friends. Lu Zheng's lips are light, and his cheeks are more and more warm. Friend. Mo Shanghua whispered for a long time, and then he said with a smile, That's right. You and I are the only confidants in the mansion. Since she came to this world, only Lu Zheng can talk to her about medicine. Lu Zheng's eyes were slightly bright, and it seemed that there was floating light. After a long time, he stood up again. I think you will be very busy these days, Wei Chen. I don't want to disturb you. You need to send someone directly to let me know. Since he is a friend, he is unavoidably unfamiliar with Wei Chen. He hesitates and changes his name. Mo Shanghua really didn't mind. She also got up and said, "Okay, Chinya, send Lu Imperial Doctor out." "Yes." Chinya answered at the door and opened the door. "Dr. Lu, this way, please." Lu Zheng dropped his head and walked away with a smile. Seeing off Lu Zheng, Mo Shanghua is not in a hurry to do something. After all, she has an antidote in her hand now, so there's no need to be anxious. These days, she can calm down and continue what she was doing. However, before that, she called Chinya over again, handed over a prescription and said, "Take this prescription to Pingji and ask her to bring the prepared herbs." Chinya took the prescription and casually looked at the contents. Now, unlike in the past, she had been given the Mo Shanghua to her for a long time. She knew the contents. "In addition, I am familiar with these herbs." She couldn't help laughing. "Princess, your prescription is really wonderful. Want to come to Pingji? See maidservant go to beg, must be angry." 7 tips smoke. Mo Shanghua lips slightly yang, the same excellent mood, since she likes to give me fine not happy, I naturally can't let her refreshing. It's exactly this principle. You can rest assured. Even if you empty Mrs. Ping's place, I will bring back this medicine. Chinya smiles, eyebrows and eyes curved. Sha is excited, blessing body, go in high spirits. Mo Shanghua believes in Chinya's ability to handle affairs. Seeing her go, she gets up and goes to see Yunji's current situation. The maid who takes care of Yunji doesn't dare to be careless at all. Therefore, Yunji's service is excellent. Yunji doesn't play around anymore recently. She just sits on the bed and mumbles to herself with a dull look. Mo Shanghua covered her face and went in to give Yunji a pulse. Seeing that there was nothing abnormal, she ordered her maid to continue to take good care of her life. Then she went back to her room and continued her previous research and development of Jianghe. The last night's research has begun to show its features, and today's research is much simpler. Therefore, Chinya dares to report back after he comes back. Mo Shanghua sees Chinya's high-spirited appearance. Thinking that it's not the most important day, she puts down her things for the time being and looks up at her. "How about it, but it's back." "That's nature." Qin Yazhong nodded his head with a smile on his face. Mrs. Ping was not willing at that time, but the maidservant was not a vegetarian, so she moved out the previous words of the Lord, but Pingfu was very popular. The wood looked at the maidservant as if she was going to eat the maidservant. After that, was Pingji making trouble? Mo Shanghua supported her jaw with a pen and opened her mouth with great interest. With Wang Yi and you, Mrs. Ping has to compromise even if she doesn't want to. Qin Ya's lips are slightly tilted, and her hands and feet are excited. Mrs. Ping didn't make any preparations at all, so she had to let Mu'er go shopping. As a result, she didn't have enough money. She came back to get it again. In the end, she couldn't get it out, so she took out all the gold and silver jewelry and said it was for the princess. With that, she turned around and clapped her hands with a smile. All the maidservants came in with trays. Each tray is full of medicinal materials wrapped with oil-absorbing paper. A tray should have 6 bags, a total of 4 trays, and a maid holding a dressing box, which seems to have some weight. Chinya took the jewelry box over, opened it, and put it together in front of Mo Shanghua. "Princess, you see, this is probably all Mrs. Ping's property. All of them are gold and silver ornaments, as well as some jade articles. Some of them are of high value, and some of them are of ordinary texture. On the whole, they are a lot of wealth. It's not surprising that Pingji has been in the palace for many years, and she can save these things. These I'm afraid Pingji is reluctant to take the initiative to send it out anyway. Your skills are really getting better today. Save half a lifetime of things, Pingji's character will easily hand over. Mo Shanghua is how also don't believe. Now, it's really rare that Chinya has the ability to let Pingji take it out." Kinyashui Yingying eyes blinked, a pair of innocent fays. "Maidservant can be the princess, you teach by example." Mo Shanghua laughs and closes the jewelry box. "Since you got it, you can keep it all. As for these medicinal materials, they are all put here." "Yes." Chinya shouts, then asks people to put things down and goes out. Seeing that there was no one at the moment, Qinya could not help but cover her lips and smile again. Princess, you don't know. When the maidservant went, Pingfu had just slapped his mouth, and his whole face was swollen into a pig's head. He kept talking softly. It seemed that he was in great pain. It's good to see if she dares to go down the drain in the future, you are so fierce now. With you, I don't have to deal with her myself in the future. Mo Shanghua's lips are slightly crooked, joking happily. Qinya couldn't help but take a look at the stranger and said with a smile, the princess has been making fun of her maidservant all day long. I'm afraid that the maidservant's confidence is going to be destroyed. That's not laughing. With that, the flower on the street actually gathered a smile. By the way, I wrote a letter to call Qin Lin back 2 days ago. Now it's almost time. What, brother is back? Qinya Dun exclaimed in surprise, his eyes shining. Mo Shanghua nodded and said, I've already sent another person from where I'm in charge in Wujuan. Naturally, your brother can come back. You can go to Pianmen now. Maybe you've arrived. Thank you, princess. Qinya immediately jumped up, put the jewelry box directly on the table, and ran out after a quick blessing. It's really hard to keep such a lively disposition with a boring person like her. Mo Shanghua sighed a little in his heart, and then sorted out the things on the table by himself, and then went on with what he was doing. Soon, how to use jianghe as a medicine to prepare a prescription for the treatment of congenital aphasia and deafness, Mo Shanghua began to study it and began to prepare it. And in terms of medicinal materials, in addition to jianghe, there is no need to worry about others. Some of the medicinal materials she got from Pingji are enough. 2 days have passed since the promise of the antidote, and 2 days have passed since the flower on the street was shut up. She didn't even listen to Qin Lin's report to Wu County. She asked him to report back when she was free. This day, she finally put the things in hand and called Qin Lin and Qinya in. Princess, but what can I do for you? Qin Lin asked with gestures. Mo Shanghua took out 6 packets of wrapped powder and handed them to each of them 3 packets one by one. You can take these 2 packets of powder for 3 days. It's best to take them after dinner every day. When you take them with warm water. By the way, the 2 of you are using different drugs. Don't confuse them. Qin Lin looked at a few packets of powder in his hand with a puzzled face, and gestured, Princess, what do you mean? The slave is in good health. Why should he take this? Qinya looked at the powder in her hand for a long time and then said, Princess, is this the cure for our natural ear and mouth disease? You've been shut up these days, and you're not developing antidotes, but for your slave and brother? That's why you suddenly called your brother back. In an instant, she realized all the intentions of Mo Shanghua. She was moved and her eyes filled with tears. Qin Lin's eyes widened when he heard that. He looked at the powder in his hand and the confused Qinya who was moved by him. His eyes finally fell on Mo Shanghua. He grew up excited mouth, constantly issued a voice similar to the general roar, as if to confirm the authenticity of what Qinya said. The flowers on the street are watching slowly and slowly. Seriously nodded, as you think, you have been following me for a long time. You have been devoted and loyal. Now that the right opportunity has come, I can't miss it. I should seize the opportunity and cure you. She had thought about helping Qin Lin and Qinya heal before, but she didn't know where to start. If it wasn't for the appearance of jianghe, she really couldn't find a better way. She could only let them do it all the time. Qin Lin and Qinya look at each other, then suddenly kneel down heavily and bow down to worship. This is their way to repay, even if the flowers on the street block is useless, but it will hurt them. More uneasy, Mo Shanghua simply did not come forward to help, just stood up, so buy a gift. After 2 people kowtow, Mo Shanghua just stepped forward and lifted them up. Qinya wiped her tears from the corner of her eyes and couldn't help saying, since childhood, I have no father or mother with my brother, and I was born with such a disease. I don't know that I was bullied by you, Shao. You pulled us out of such a hell. Now, you have cured me again. At this point, her tears flow more turbulent, is sobbing. Mo Shanghua gently wipes her with a handkerchief. Before she can pacify her, Qin Lin suddenly raises a hand and makes an oath. She turns her eyes to indicate Qinya. Qinya nodded and tried to hold back her tears. She also made a vow. Her voice choked and she was very clear to me. Qinya and her brother swear that they will be loyal to the princess in this life. If there is any betrayal, they will die a terrible death. Although Qin Lin can't speak, he still learns Qinya's mouth shape. His mouth shape is the same as Qinya's. Mo Shanghua looked at Qin Lin, Qinya's brother and sister, who were very solemn. They were silent for a long time, and then they pulled their hands down one by one. I know what you want to say and express. Even if you don't, I know. If you are like this, I will do my best to protect your safety and wealth in this life. Pause, her voice slightly heavy. As for the side, I can't guarantee. I have too many things to do. It will not be peaceful and stable for you to follow me after all. As long as I can stay with the princess, I have nothing to ask for. Qin Lin uses sign language to express his true thoughts. Qinya nodded the same way. She seemed to suddenly think of something, with a pale face. Ning, princess, you've been studying this medicine these days, so. What about your highness? But I heard that your second highness's attack is getting worse these days. If you can't get the antidote then? Qin Lin's smell speech, eyes also gushed with the color of worry. Mo Shanghua was still calm and calm. I'm not in a hurry at this moment. Besides, I won't put myself in a dangerous situation. You just need to believe me. Qin Lin and Qinya looked at each other, and they were all relieved. After all, Mo Shanghua never talks big. Since she says so, she is quite sure. It was during the discussion that the maidservant outside came in a hurry and said, Princess, your second highness has a bad attack over there. Please go as soon as possible. Has the lord gone? Now the night is approaching, Yan Moli is still in attack at this time, and she has to prevent. If you go back to the princess, the prince is not feeling well today, so he went to bed early. He's free. Mo Shanghua could not help muttering a word in a low voice, but her face was okay. He has been hiding for a few days on the pretext of tracking down the poisoning, and now he can't even see it. The longer the poison stays in the body, the more fierce it will be at each attack. It can be said that life is not like death. At this time, Yan Moli almost lost his mind in pain. The veins on the back of his hand had burst, and the same was true on his face. He was sweating all over. Obviously, he had to endure very hard. The bodyguard is more anxious to keep turning around. Seeing the flowers coming, he quickly takes the medicine box in Qinya's hand and puts it on the bedside, saying, Your Highness is going to be unable to hold on, quick. Mo Shanghua nodded faintly and took a cursory look at Yan Mo Li's face. Then he spoke calmly, I want to lose the needle for him. Come and hold him down. The bodyguard immediately nodded and pressed Yan Mo Li's shoulders to prevent him from moving. Mo Shanghua just bent down and put Yan Mo in front of her chest. Take off the clothes that have been stained with blood. I saw that Lu Zhang's medicine had been used to mediate in the past 2 days. The scabby wound was broken again by the toxin, and the wound cracked. This time, unlike before, only a little blood came out. At this time, the blood at the wound was like a mountain spring leaking from the crack of the valley, and it kept gushing from the wound. No wonder the bodyguard is now anxious to invite her here. It turns out that the poison has gone deeper and deeper. I'm afraid it's going to attack the heart. By then, there will be no medicine to cure. It is reasonable to say that in this case, the earlier the detoxification, the better, but Mo Shanghua does not think so. The tragedy of the original owner is caused by the people in front of him. If we don't let him suffer more, how can we treat the original owner who has disappeared? Thinking of this, after seeing the wound, she did not mention detoxification. Instead, she slowly opened the medicine box, took out the silver needle, deliberately abandoned the catgut that was used to sew the wound, and put on the patching clothes before the candlelight to embroider the cotton thread. As she took liquor to disinfect the silver needle and cotton thread, she explained, "My way of seeing a doctor is somewhat different from others. Wounds like this can't heal on their own. They have to be sutured before they can gradually recover. The process will be more painful. You must hold down your second highness." The guard looked at the silver needle in Mo Shanghua's hand and Yen Moli, who was in agony at this time, and said, "Either, you can help the master to eliminate some pain first, and your highness will be more sober. I think you can cooperate better." Mo Shanghua glanced up at the guard and said in the same tone, "At the moment, the second highness's wound is bleeding. The poison is too strong. The ordinary method can't stop. If you don't want the second highness to die, you can make me waste my time like this." The bodyguard was silent and pressed Yen Mo tightly. "As long as you can cure your highness, it will depend on you for the time being." Mo Shanghua nodded his head. When the blood flow continued, he didn't care to clean up the wound. He bent down and skillfully passed the silver needle from the split skin of the wound. Yen Emoli extremely its pain of stuffy hum, the body is uncontrollable heavily tremble for a while, the split wound also then tight up, draw blood more turbulent. Even when the waiter looked at him, he felt a faint pain in his chest, and Qinya turned away in a hurry. Mo Shanghua did not even frown. Her eyes were full of indifference. She just looked at the blood and accelerated her speed. Yen Moli almost struggled with pain several times. Fortunately, the bodyguard was still responsible. With the suture of the wound, the blood was less, so he pressed Yen Moli harder. When the wound was sewn up, Yen Moli was already in a daze, pale as paper, and he would faint at any time. But he was biting his teeth and trying not to let himself fall asleep. It's not that he doesn't want to sleep. It's just that the pain of suturing the wound has passed, and the pain caused by toxins in his body still exists. Even though his eyelids are sinking, his consciousness is still very clear. He had to grit his teeth and hang on. Mo Shanghua couldn't see his expression, so he continued to clean up the bloodstain of the wound and apply medicine. Even if she saw it, she would never release his pain. If she wants to, just won't have hemp boil to scatter of circumstance, intentionally conceal come down, so blunt so up for him, make him pain unbearably. Just, a little trick can, but she can't let him die like this. Thinking of this, she treated Yen Moli's chest wound, then took out the acupuncture package, and applied the needle to temporarily suppress the poison in his body, so as not to let it into the lungs. As for the poisonous hair that must be produced every day, the pain will not be relieved at the time of the attack. After all, she just didn't let the poison into her heart, and she didn't press the poison into her body. In the eyes of Mo Shanghua, Yen Moli only needs to be immortal. So, after she finished all this, she only left one bottle, but asked him to say, "This is the medicine for replenishing qi and blood. The second highness has lost so much blood, and now he is short of qi and blood. Take the water 3 times a day and ask the dining room to make more medicine for replenishing qi and blood. In 7 days, he can recover 20% of qi and blood." Only 20% the bodyguard took the small porcelain vase, but he could not help frowning. 20% is not bad. You still need to nourish your qi and blood slowly to get it back. Mo Shanghua glanced at the bodyguard and gave Qinya the medicine box. She said, "Qinya, it's time for us to go." Qinya holds the medicine box in both hands and nods gently. They just turned around, and suddenly came Yen Mo's low and weak voice, and so on. Mo Shanghua steps a meal, turn around to see Yen Moli has been in the bodyguard's help to do reluctantly, the body is almost all rely on the bodyguard body, complexion pale as paper. Mo Shanghua is the first time to see such a weak Yen Moli. She quietly scratched a dark color in her eyes. Her face was the same, "What's your highness's command?" Yen Moli looked at the flowers for a while, then he coughed twice. Then he said, "I just heard that in the past, but today I see that your medical skills are really extraordinary. It's really rare to have such attainments. Now that your medical skills are excellent, I don't know if the antidote has been successfully developed. If it's ready, you don't have to wait 4 days. It's better to try the antidote now." On the street, his eyebrows were fixed, and a pair of black and white eyes were full of indifference. Your Highness, I'm flattered. This poison is extraordinary. I've never seen it before. It's going to take some time just to read medical books, let alone detoxify. Your Highness may as well be here. Patience and so on. Another 2 days will be the 4-day period. At that time, I will surely offer the antidote with both hands. Yen Emoli flighty eyes across a cold color, and said, there is such a strange thing in hand, how can we have to 4 days? This is not only referring to Jianghe, but also to the antidote. The ink color in the flower eyes on the street flashed away, but it was a blank appearance on the face. What strange thing? Your Highness thinks it's because you've heard a lot of gossip in the house, and you're fond of wishful thinking when you're sick. That's why you say such words. After a pause, her eyes fell on the bodyguard. You must take good care of your Highness, and ask him to have a lot of rest. Don't let that gossip get close to you. With that, he gave Yen Emo a polite smile. It's late at night. I shouldn't stay long. Your Highness, please have a good rest and say goodbye. Yen Emoli didn't open his mouth, but his narrow eyes narrowed slightly, and his eyes were a bit gloomy. There was no light in the bedroom, and the flowers on the street didn't ask Qinya to wait on them. They rushed her and Qin Lin back to take medicine and go to bed early, so they went back alone. She just entered the room and saw that half of the men with ink hair were sitting cross-legged on the soft couch in the moonlight. Her eyes were very bright in the night, but she could not see half a smile. You've been sleeping for a long time. What are you doing here? Although he couldn't see his face clearly, he recognized Yen Beiqing at a glance and didn't care much. He went forward to light the candlestick in the house and said. Yen Beiqing didn't speak, and the bright eyes set off by the night turned with the figure of flowers on the street. Mo Shanghua lights up all the candlesticks in the house, then takes a candlestick and turns around. She found that Yen Beiqing's face was really dark at this time. She couldn't help but draw the candlestick closer to Yen Beiqing's face. She said with interest, now that the house is so bright, why is your face as dark as when there is no light? Yen Beiqing snorted from his nose. Like a wrong child, he muttered in a low voice, it's not because of you. What? The flower on the street didn't hear clearly, so it couldn't help getting closer. I didn't expect that Yenbei City moved backward instead, and turned around with a calm face. Mo Shanghua put the candlestick on the other side of the table just now. Yen Beiqing grabbed it by the wrist and pulled it to him to sit down. The flower on the street frowned slightly, turned around and said, Yen Beiqing, what are you playing with? Yen Beiqing tugged at her wrist. Before he let go of her hand, he stared at her for a long time. Then he said coyly, did you take off his clothes when you just healed him? Mo Shanghua nodded, did not feel there was something wrong, yes. When Yen Beiqing saw her look, her face became more and more black and ugly. Men and women are different. When you take off his clothes, don't you think it's wrong? The willow eyebrows on the street frowned more tightly. I didn't quite understand why Yen Beiqing was angry about this. Although men and women are different, I am a doctor. In the eyes of doctors, men and women are the same, and there is no difference just because he is the prince. Her thoughts come from modern times. Naturally, she doesn't feel that there is him, so she says what she thinks. Yen Beiqing seemed to be choked by the words of Mo Shanghua. After a while, he reorganized his language. I can't control so much. If you are my princess, you can't see the body of any man except me. I can't stop seeing a doctor because of this. Yen Beiqing, you are too childish. Mo Shanghua pulls out her wrist and totally disagrees with Yen Beiqing's behavior. Yen Beiqing looked at his empty palm, and there were some tyrannical colors in the bottom of his eyes. However, it was not from the flowers on the street. He was just very angry. Why didn't he take the poison directly at that time? No matter what impact Yen Moli's death would have on their plan, just kill him recklessly. After calming down for a long time, he forced down the tyranny in his eyes. He flattened his mouth like a child, and his tone was somewhat aggrieved. However, You haven't even seen my body, how can you see others? Is that the reason? Mo Shanghua's frowning brow stretched out, but he couldn't smile bitterly. Yan Beicheng, how can you be so childish? Although the words say so, but there is no half of displeasure in the eyes, on the contrary died a little smile. In fact, she is more curious. Is the cold-blooded and heartless man who put on his cloak the same person as the wayward and childish man? Or maybe he was. Or is it just his disguise? While thinking about it, Yan Beicheng suddenly came to her side and said, "My chest is not comfortable, so I should be hurt. Since the princess can show it to others, she should also show it to me." He did not care. A random pull, the collar of the large spring suddenly burst out, thick chest muscles looming in front of us. Before Ming Ming, Yan Moli's figure was also so good. At that time, there was no special feeling in Mo Shanghua. In his eyes, there was only an ordinary body. But at the moment, Yan Beicheng's body in front of her made her inexplicably shy and embarrassed to see it. Yan Beicheng glimpsed the slightly red earlobe of flowers on the street. Instead of calming down, he was even more irritated. When you see him, do you have the same thing? At the thought of this picture, his heart was almost crazy. Mo Shanghua subconsciously touched the scalding earlobe, only then. Why, Yanbei City? I should ask you what you want today. Yan Beicheng wanted to say something, and then he swallowed it again. After a while, his face turned red, and then he squeezed out a word. Can't you see that Wang is eating, jealous? Yan Beicheng, who has always been determined, said this sentence slowly under the gaze of Mo Shanghua, but it was very difficult. Eat, be jealous. Mo Shanghua is also obviously lunging for a while, obviously did not expect Yan Beicheng would say so. Now her whole brain is empty. Except for Yan Beicheng's figure, everything else in her eyes turns into illusory things, which is dispensable. Only his figure is particularly clear. A corner in my heart seems to be knocked by something. It's crispy and itchy. It's wonderful. When she reacted, Yan Beicheng, who was cold-faced and ruthless in her mind, mingled with Yan Beicheng, who was childish and lovely. She couldn't help laughing. Yan Beicheng's heart, which had been hanging high, was released. After smoothing the neckline, he pretended to be calm and said, "I'm tired. I want to go back and have a rest. Let's settle down as soon as possible." With that, he got up to go. But this extremely slow pace, as well as this slightly flow of vision, are clearly out of his mind. But Mo Shanghua is so puzzled. After hearing that Yan Beicheng was going to leave, he glanced at his back at random and then took back his eyes. He got up with a candlestick and went to the bed. Yan Beicheng deliberately so slowly for a long time, is about to turn around to say a few words with Mo Shanghua, then see that she has put out the candlesticks in the house almost, only the rest of the bed is still on, and Mo Shanghua himself, seems to be cleaning up, ready to sleep. Yan Beicheng subconsciously annoyed, and then thought that she had always been such a temperament, face suddenly was full of helpless to replace. He can't help taking her like this all the time. He's such a grinding goblin. With a slight sigh in his heart, Yan Beicheng also lost his mind. He found a window, then flew out and went quietly. The 4-day period is coming soon. Before Mo Shanghua comes to detoxify, Yan Beicheng comes to Yan Moli by catching the person who poisoned him. In fact, the so-called poisoner is just a scapegoat. The so-called discovery of poison in the diet that day was just a scene in which Yan Moli put some of his blood into the diet and directed and performed himself. No one poisoned him. How could he be the real murderer? But there must be an account of this, so we have to find a scapegoat. Brother Huang, I dare not even go out these days. I'll stay in my house every day to investigate cases. Yan Beicheng said. Seeing that there was tea on the table, he took it directly and drank it down. Although in the disease, Yan Moli is still in front of the soft couch, only the pale color on his face is slightly morbid. Smell speech, he slightly astringent eyes, is also this temple usually inexplicable enemy too much, will fall to now field, let that you also with trouble. Brother Huang, You and I were born of the same root, so we should. Besides, you suffered here, so I should find out for you. Yen North City lips cape smile also pale a few minutes, the board is right complexion, a serious mouth. You are such a free and unrestrained person in ordinary times. Today, you are so painstaking because of the affairs of our hall. You really moved our hall. Yen Mo pulled the lip without blood color, and spoke in a low voice sincerely. Yen Beiqing smiles, turns his eyes to see the little fellow around him, and says with a smile, go and bring people up and show them to the emperor. The small sea complexion strange quietly saw Yen Mo li one eye, then just Shide. The boy went down and gave orders. Soon, 2 boys came in carrying a stretcher. The stretcher was covered with a thin layer of white cloth, and the rudiment of human body under the white cloth could be seen. Yen Beiqing didn't pay attention to the stretcher. After the order, he turned his eyes to Yen Moli and explained, I sent someone to turn the house upside down. This man has been found now. He is a cook working in the dining room. He was instructed to poison the food he sent to you when he was cooking. As for the mastermind behind the scenes, I think it's better for you to interrogate him personally. Yen Moli nodded slightly to show his approval. Yen Beiqing just set his eyes on the stretcher. On top of that, when he saw that it was covered with white cloth, his face suddenly changed, and he gave a look to the boy on his side. Knowing this, he stepped forward to lift the white cloth. A pale face suddenly came into his eyes. His chest without ups and downs and his closed eyes showed his death. What's going on? I want you to look at it. You can't even look at yourself. Yen North City immediately rubs of once then stood up, complexion iron green. Because of this sound, all the little fellows knelt down, their foreheads pressed tightly to the ground. He is so irascible, but I don't know if it is his true nature. Yen Mo Li's eyes were flowing, and the light of his eyes seemed to sweep Yen Beiqing's cheek. Yen Beiqing didn't notice. He was furious. He stepped forward and kicked the little guy who was close to him to the ground. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? If you can't make it clear, don't mention it. Brother Huang, even the king won't bypass you. The boy bit his teeth and didn't dare to make a sound. He quickly straightened himself up. If you go back to the Lord, the slaves dare not lynch him. This man bit his tongue last night and found out this morning that he hasn't had time to report to the Lord. I beg him to forgive me. However, Yen Beiqing obviously didn't believe it. He was a little suspicious. There must be a reason why he would suddenly commit suicide. It's not certain that you have his accomplices among you. It's not necessary to worry about the disclosure of the matter and kill people intentionally. You'd better stand up for yourself, or we will send you all to torture. When Mo Shanghua came in, he just put all the words of Yen Beiqing in his ears. He did not stop walking and stared at his cheek for a moment. His face was full of anger and suspicions, even the look in his eyes was the same, and there was no flaw in his face, as if he was such a stupid, irascible man. The opera master. Looking at such a Yenbei city, Mo Shanghua suddenly flashed a modern word in his mind, and a funny color crossed his eyes. Wang Ye's temper has always been like this. Your Highness should never mind. Wait and see for a moment, Mo Shanghua just step into, words but not to Yen Beiqing said. Yen Mo Li Si was not surprised. He shook his head and said, I've heard about the character of the North City in this hall for a long time. Since we are brothers, we naturally don't care. Between the words, the eyes fell quietly on Yen Beiqing. There was a dark color in the pupil of Yen Beiqing, especially when he saw the flowers coming in the street and was the first to speak to Yen Moli. In this way, he gave the boy a kick and said coldly, Do you really want to send him to torture? Mr. Wang, the matter has not been clarified yet. We can't make such a casual conclusion for the time being. It's an extraordinary period to watch over such words. It's impossible for other people to sneak in. As a result, this person is really impossible. The flowers on the street, with a slight frown, gently exhort. Yen Beiqing didn't give face at all. He replied, Princess, this matter is very important. You'd better not intervene. Anyway, you're a woman in a deep house. You just need to take care of the palace. The flower's face on the street was dim and embarrassed. In the end, I didn't say much, but I was used to it. I lowered my eyebrows and said, yes. Yen Moli quietly put their faces in his ears, and the ink color in his eyes was slightly deep. He pulled the corner of his lips and said just right, if people really want to die, they can't stop it anyway. This temple thinks, this person should be to see the affair expose, don't want to betray own master's son, this just commit suicide and die. What the princess has just said makes sense. Yen Beicheng's eyebrows were even tighter, but he still didn't think so. It's related to the safety of the emperor's brother. How can I not do my best? I have to thoroughly investigate all the other possibilities. Yen Emoli saw this and said, I've given you a lot of trouble since I came here. I'm sorry for that. According to my temple, it's enough. As long as there's an explanation from my father, you and I don't have to investigate too much, so as not to make trouble. Yen Moli didn't want to investigate. Naturally, Yen Beicheng didn't hold on to the truth, so he nodded casually as if he hadn't calmed down. Since the emperor doesn't want to investigate, you don't want to ask for this trouble. Mo Shanghua sees this, turns Mao to see Yen Moli one eye, slightly nods. Yen Moli nodded with the same smile, and his voice was gentle and kind. Now the princess is here. I think the antidote has been developed. His Highness Hui Yi, too, has indeed been developed and can detoxify at any time. Flowers on the road light mouth. In that case, please let Princess Yu detoxify your highness as soon as possible. Yen Emoli hasn't opened his mouth yet, the bodyguard behind him is very happy and goes forward. The flowers on the street did not shirk themselves. They simply answered, they should be like this. Yen Emoli saw this, then consciously stretched out his wrist, motioned to Mo Shanghua to feel the pulse. Yen Beicheng waved his hand and impatiently asked the housekeeper to carry the body down. Then he stood up and gave his position to Mo Shanghua to facilitate her diagnosis and treatment. Mo Shanghua is not polite either. He just sits down on this sun, takes the wrist pillow Qinya handed over, places it on the small table in front of him, and signals Yen Mo to take it up. After a simple pulse diagnosis, Mo Shanghua took back her hand and said, I've temporarily suppressed the poison 2 days ago. Now it's almost out of control. It's really not suitable to drag it down. Please move your highness to the inner room. It's inconvenient to treat here. Good. Yen Mo answered in a low voice. He got up and went to the inner room. Without any hesitation, he seemed to have unlimited trust in Mo Shanghua. Mo Shanghua was about to catch up with Yen Beicheng. He couldn't help but call him, Lord, the less people there are, the better. You'd better wait here for my news. But Yen Beicheng did not change his face. He looked very serious. I'm not a layman. I'm the brother of the emperor and my father. What does it matter? Besides, I'm not here to make trouble. Then he glanced at the housekeeper beside him. The housekeeper nodded quickly and went out with a bead curtain. When he came in again, Lu Zheng had already followed him. It's still like a snow-white robe. It's still a mahogany medicine box. It's still warm and moist, just like a scholar. Dr. Lu. The flowers on the street whispered softly and turned their eyes to Yen Beicheng. Yen Beicheng's lips were slightly crooked, and his eyes seemed to be filled with a childlike invitation for credit. He was elated. It's hard for you to be tired alone. In this case, it's always hard to avoid accidents. The Imperial Dr. Lu is here to help you. It's also for the safety of the emperor's brother. The flowers on the street were still puzzled. Seeing this at the moment, they were puzzled in their eyes and then went away. In that case, they made a fool of themselves in front of the Imperial Dr. Lu. The princess's medical skill is superb, how can she be a disgrace? Lu Zheng's lips and eyes are soft. In this way, there were 2 more people in the inner room where there should have been only 3 people. Yan Beicheng found a soft couch next to him and sat down, holding a cup of tea in his hand. He rubbed the outer wall of the cup with his long fingers. It seemed that his mood was not as relaxed as usual. Lu Regular is in the street flower together in front of Collapse, staring at the action of the street flower side, can see, Nerve is also a little nervous. The bodyguard who had been following Yen Mo Li's side all the time held the sword handle tightly and stared at the flower on the street without blinking. The whole room seemed to be very nervous, but Yen Mo Li, the client, sat cross-legged quietly on the bed as usual, with his hands relaxed on his knees, and could not see any tension. Princess Yu, it's time to start. Seeing that he was neither arrogant nor impatient, Mo Shanghua didn't know whether he was intentional or unintentional, and said, "This detoxification method, I need to first solve the acupuncture method used to temporarily suppress the poison last time, and then stimulate the poison to drive away the poison. The process is more painful than the usual poisonous hair. I hope your highness will be ready." Yen Mo Li's expression remained unchanged, as if he was half fearless. "Man, what's the pain? I will bear it. You don't have to worry about it." There was a faint color on the bottom of the flower eyes on the street, and there was no abnormality on the face. "Dr. Lu, please tell someone to boil this medicine first." The boiling method is explained in detail, and they must strictly abide by this method. Mo Shanghua took out a prescription and handed it to Lu Zheng. She knew that the remaining two people in the room, the big Buddha in Yanbei City, would not move, and the rest of the bodyguards did not dare to leave Yen Mo Li. Only Lu Zheng could go. It happened that he was also proficient in medicine and could watch. Lu Zheng naturally understood what she meant and agreed without thinking, "Yes, I'll go now." Mo Shanghua just glanced at Yen Mo Li, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed. "Please take off your highness's clothes." A few days ago, it was the same with silver needle needling. Yen Mo Li didn't care very much. He nodded and then hung his head to untie his clothes. On the contrary, Yan Beicheng, who was sitting opposite him, suddenly darkened his eyes and said in his voice, "How can I see a disease and take off my clothes? Princess, how can my brother be a man? I don't think it's hard for me to give and receive. It's better for you to let Lu Zheng do it for me." He didn't hide his jealousy. Instead, he allowed it to appear. From others' point of view, he was just a husband who ate vinegar for his wife. The bottom of Yen Mo's eyes quickly crossed a touch of treachery, and his voice was gentle. "Beicheng, in the eyes of doctors, are all patients, and there is no distinction between men and women. Moreover, the princess's technique seems to be different from others. Others are afraid that they will really learn it. If they want to learn it, they will not be able to learn it." After a pause, he added, "Intentionally or unintentionally, and the princess did the same thing before, so she didn't mind. Is this a deliberate provocation?" The cold light at the bottom of Yan Beicheng's eyes passed, and he sneered in his heart. In his eyes, even if they have cooperation, they are only superficial, and they must be afraid of each other. I have to say that Yen Mo Li's move is really vicious. If they are really afraid of each other, mutual suspicion, two people because of this conflict, then his later provocation will be much easier. Unfortunately, I'm afraid he never thought that Yan Beicheng had a deep love for Mo Shanghua and would never be provoked by him. As for the flowers on the street, although he didn't know what she thought, with her intelligence, he would not be easily provoked. Sure enough, as soon as Yen Mo's voice fell, his eyes fell on him. His eyes were as deep as a pool. After a short pause, her lips were as bright as peach petals. "Your Highness said that if there is an accident, I can't afford it. The Lord should be more open about it." In his words, he implied that Yan Beicheng was narrow-minded, but his eyes were so quiet, how could he be really annoyed? Yen North City in a flash will come over, deliberately dissatisfied with the mutter, "Yes, I know." With that, he simply turned his head, poured a cup of tea with a depressed face, and drank it by himself. It seemed that he was depressed to the extreme. "Princess, please go on." Yen Mo Li did not seem to see the general, side eyes with the stranger on the flower path. Mo Shanghua nodded and ignored Yan Beicheng. He lowered his head and took a silver needle to disinfect it with special alcohol. Yen Moli also took off his clothes. Not for a while, the upper body will be naked, exposed to the air. The white skin and firm muscles all show full male charm. If an ordinary woman is afraid, she will blush and heartbeat on the spot. But at this time, the woman in the room is a stranger. Yen Moli's skin bag is just a person in her eyes. When Yen Moli undressed, she didn't lift her eyes from the beginning to the end. Only after she had eliminated the poison of the silver needle, did she lift her eyes and sweep it. She concentrated on applying the needle. Yen Beicheng, who didn't look at him, couldn't help turning his head and staring at him. CMO Shanghua so calm, face not red, heart not jump in Yen Moli behind the needle. It is clear that Mo Shanghua is not half interested in him, but his heart of vinegar jar, or can't help but overturn the moment, the whole chest acid to the extreme. The strength of the teacup pinched lightly between the fingers can't help but increase slightly. The anger at the bottom of the eyes keeps beating, and it seems to burst out. As soon as the power of the hand was out of control, a very thin crack spread slowly on the wall of the teacup, and a very light click also sounded. Because the voice is very light, is paying attention to the needle of Mo Shanghua, Yen Moli. Two people did not notice, but the bodyguard, hearing and seeing, immediately turned his head, eyes in Yen Beicheng hands of tea. Yen Beicheng's angry eyes were all hidden in the depths of his pupils. With a slight tilt of his slender hand, the teacup seemed to fall to the ground with a sound of bang. It broke with the sound, and there was no small crack. Yen Beicheng's bad face drooped in an instant. He was very agitated and waved, "Come on, come in and clean up." The bodyguard first looked nervously at the flowers on the street. Seeing that there was no influence, he turned around. The suspicions in his eyes had been replaced by disgust. He said in a low voice, "Prince, it's not suitable to enter at this time. The princess has something to say. She must keep quiet." When Yen Beicheng saw the guard's attitude, he wanted to be annoyed, but he glanced at the Moshang flower, who was still serious about needling. Then he flattened his mouth and nodded reluctantly, "I don't speak, but you'd better keep your mouth closed." When the bodyguard heard the words, he just didn't dare to be angry and didn't care. Yen Beicheng's eye light sweeps over the broken teacup pieces on the ground, and the dark color at the bottom of the eye becomes thicker. After all, it was too impulsive and almost out of control. If found, years of hard work will be wasted. With this in mind, he simply closed his eyes and forced himself not to look. It's not hard for Mo Shanghua to do this. In addition, she is very devoted. Therefore, when Lu Jin comes back, she just takes back the silver needle. At that time, the poison on Yen Moli's body had been slowly flowing away, and the poison that must happen every day came ahead of time today, and it was more painful than before. He fell uncontrollably over the bed. His face was in pain, and the veins on his neck were springing up, which showed the pain he was enduring. "Dr. Lu, and the bodyguard, please help me hold him down." Seeing that Yen Moli's eyes were red gradually, he seemed to be in a state of unconsciousness. The flower on the street put away the silver needle, like this. Lu Zheng knew the poison was so bad that he nodded his head and pressed Yen Moli's two legs. The guard hesitated for a moment. Seeing the flower on the street looking solemn, he didn't dare to delay. He came forward to help hold the rest of his arms. Yen Moli, who was still restless, was completely unable to move at this time, but the tightly wrapped gauze on his body began to dye a little blood again. Mo Shanghua then calmly took out a small porcelain vase, took out a pill from it and sent it to Yen Moli's mouth. Because of his unconsciousness, Yen Moli's mouth was very tight. "I'm afraid it's hard to break it." Mo Shanghua just took a look, then released a hand, and gently touched the left side of his jaw like a dragonfly. His tightly closed mouth opened, and then she took the opportunity to put the pill into his mouth and supported his jaw. Yen Moli's throat rolled, and the pill was directly forced to swallow. At the same time, Mo Shanghua did not forget and neatly put a sweat towel in his mouth, so as not to bite the tip of his tongue in pain. After a smooth movement, Mo Shanghua did not stop. Instead, he continued to take out the silver needle and put it on Yan Moli's shoulder. Lu Zheng looked at the array in Mo Shanghua's hand, frowned slightly, and suggested, "The poison has been suppressed for many days, and it seems to be coming fiercely. The princess's technique is inevitably delayed. Is it better to change a faster method?" Mo Shanghua eased his hand and took another silver needle. He said lightly, "Your Highness has been tortured by this poison for many days, and his body has been very weak. If you change another method, the effect will be too fast. I'm afraid your Highness's body will not be able to bear it. On the contrary, this method is the most stable, although it is a little slow." Lu Zheng's eye color is dim. After a few seconds, he is puzzled. What the princess said is reasonable, but it's the Wei Chen's thoughtlessness. At the end of the words, the flower on the street nodded, and the silver needle in his hand fell down again at Yan Mo Li's side waist. On the bed, Yan Moli's face was twisted, his forehead and even his neck were almost broken, and he was exposed. Although his body was under the control of the bodyguard and Lu Zheng, he still kept shaking. At first sight, he was suffering to the extreme. However, Mo Shanghua's needling action was not slow. When he glanced at Yan Moli, who was in great pain on the bed, he was indifferent. He had no pity or worry. He just looked at the endless indifference like a dead man. It took half an hour for Yan Mo Li's shudder to subside, and his twisted face returned to a normal state, but his eyes were still closed, and his mind was not clear. Lu Zheng and the bodyguard, who helped to press Yan Moli, are sweating. Seeing this, they can't help but relax and retreat to one side. However, they are still as ruddy and tired as they were at the beginning. It seems that this is just a very simple thing for her. In fact, it wasn't very difficult for her. After all, she already has this antidote. What she is doing now is only superficial kung fu, and give him some simple lessons. "Princess, the decoction Lu you ordered has already been boiled." At that time, Qinya stood outside the bead curtain which separated the inner room from the outer hall, quietly reminding. "Bring it in, put it aside, and by the way, you stay." The flower on the street is receiving the silver needle and raising its voice. Qinya came in with the medicine, and asked her to wait by the flowers, and she continued to do what she was doing. After taking back all the silver needles, he began to remedicate the wound on Yan Moli's body. The action in his hand was not as slow as it had just been. The speed increased a lot. He cleaned and bandaged Yan Moli's wound quickly. Although she helped him to sew up the wound that day, it was just to ensure that the wound would not get worse. At this time, if there were no stitches from the previous days, I'm afraid it would be more than blood. After finishing these, Mo Shanghua took the things in his hand, got up to make way, and looked sideways at Qinya waiting beside him. "This is to remove the remaining poison in his body. You need to take it quickly. Qinya, you can feed him." Qinya looked down at the medicine bowl full of bitterness in the bowl, and then at Yan Moli, who was pale on the bed. Even though she didn't want to, she was still a good man. "Yes, I know." With that, he took the medicine bowl and sat in the previous position of Mo Shanghua. With the help of the bodyguard named Help, in fact, with the help of surveillance, he obediently gave Yan Moli the medicine. Mo Shanghua went to Yan Beicheng for leisure. Looking at the broken porcelain pieces at his feet, he could not help but gently pick his eyebrows. "How drunk are you after drinking tea? How can you break such a teacup again?" Yan Beicheng didn't look in the direction of Mo Shanghua all the time. At this time, he saw Mo Shanghua come back with a wonderful look, and his face turned black. "My princess, in front of me, is with other men." Wang Gan is very speaking of the back, he didn't know what he thought of. His earlobe was slightly red, like he was under a magic spell. He couldn't say those words. But don't want to. Mo Shanghua to this kind of thing is also extremely slow, he didn't understand, her heart will really don't understand, face ignorant. What do you want to say, a man, say words to why so coy, just let go. You woman, how stupid you are. What rotten would seeing this, Yan Beicheng felt even more angry. He could not help biting his teeth and swearing in a low voice. The flower in the street was even more confused and needed further inquiry. Suddenly, a sound of broken porcelain bowl and a woman's exclamation came from the bedside just a few steps away. The flower on the street jumps in her heart and turns around to see that the medicine bowl in Chinya's hand is broken for some reason. The porcelain pieces of medicine juice fall on the ground, and the unique bitter and astringent taste spreads to the whole dormitory. "Your Highness." For some reason, the bodyguard's face changed greatly and exclaimed. Then he suddenly drew out his sword with one hand and put it across Chinya's neck. Chinya's face turned white with frigid sword across her soft and fragile neck. Her body trembled, almost one leg was soft, and she sat on the ground. Fortunately, the flower on the street passed in time and helped her. The flower on the street is also the reason that makes several people's face change at this time. I saw that Yen Moli, who was originally pale because of lack of qi and blood, had turned black for some reason. His nostrils, ears, slightly closed eyes and lip petals all gushed out a small amount of blood. His chest fluctuated weakly, and his life was not long. The indifference on the flower surface of the street fades away without a trace, and the dignified color surges into the eyes. The bodyguard was already very angry and said without any scruples, "Well, how can I be such a little girl and dare to do harm to your highness under my eyes?" Originally, the princess also participated in it. Presumptuous. The flower's face on the street was suddenly cold, as if to the freezing point. "Can I just say that this poison has been solved? How can you tell that this is my maid, or that I have done something?" At this time, Yen Beicheng quickly came over, and saw that his face was not good, and his face was not happy. "I don't know what happened, but you want to commit a crime here? Is it dead to be my king?" Words, as if more is to guard arrogant anger. The bodyguard was so shocked by several people that he could react. He was angry and had to take back his sword. "My subordinates are impolite." The cold color on the flower's face on the street is not abated. He pulls the frightened Chinya behind him and looks at the bodyguard like that. He doesn't say a word and doesn't want to be cured. No one noticed that at this time, Chinya's original color of fear did not know when to become dull. Some silly stood behind the flowers on the street. Until Mo Shanghua pushed her, she just reacted. Her eyes were instantly excited. She wanted to say something to Mo Shanghua. However, seeing Mo Shanghua's dignified expression, she swallowed her words again. She didn't dare to make trouble here. She nodded and went down in a hurry. The bodyguard saw that the flower on the street was reluctant to move, and Yen Moli's look was more and more ugly, so he couldn't help but feel anxious. "It's very obvious that it looks like this." After biting his teeth, the bodyguard lowered his head and tried to make himself annoyed. He looked more sincere. "Prince and Princess, my subordinates were just in a moment of anxiety, so I made a rude remark. I hope my subordinates will forgive me. I'm here to make amends for you too." Before the flowers on the street spoke, Yenbei City over there softened her face and said, "I don't care about you because you are also the protector. Princess, take a look at your brother. I don't think he looks very good. Speaking of the back, his brows are tightly together, seems to be extremely irritable." Mo Shanghua Yenmu glanced at Yen Mo Li's face, then nodded slightly, sat down again and grasped his wrist to feel the pulse. The bodyguard is so impetuous that even Chinya dares to move. If she doesn't move fast, Chinya's life will be in danger. If he doesn't know the consequences, he will be more arrogant these days. The bodyguard saw this, in the heart this just slightly relaxed tone, the vision still tightly lock in Yen Mo Li body. Mo Shanghua turned a blind eye to the guard's eyes and felt her pulse with great devotion. After a while, her eyebrows suddenly twisted, and her face was unprecedentedly solemn. Lu Zheng sees this, in the heart also can't help a jump, took Yen Mo Li's wrist from Mo Shanghua's hand, also closed eyes to feel the pulse carefully. A moment later, his face also changed abruptly, and he could not help whispering, "How could it be so? I'm afraid it's true." Yen North City is surprised, full-face perplexity, exactly how? The bodyguard also looked eagerly at the flowers and willows on the street. The flower on the street didn't speak, but her eyebrows were still locked tightly. The dark color in her eyes was clearly out, erratic, and seemed to be lost in meditation. Lu Zheng looked at Yan Beiqing's look and wanted to answer, but the door suddenly knocked at this time. The knock on the door was very urgent, as if something big had happened. Before Yan Beiqing had time to ask, the voice of the young man who always followed him in the past sounded from the door. His voice was more urgent than the knock on the door just now. Lord, it's bad. Madame Nan's heart attack is bad. I'm afraid it's bad. I'm crying to see you for the last time. What? Yan Beiqing's face suddenly changed. He quickly opened the door and grabbed the boy's collar. What's the matter? Make it clear. The boy wiped the sweat on his forehead nervously and spoke as smoothly as possible. The doctor said that Mrs. Nan's cold weather in recent days has not been good, and she is worried about it. I'm afraid it's not good. Mrs. Nan's side is very hard. She must let the slave come. I have a message to say goodbye to you. Farewell. What is she saying? I will never allow her to have an accident. Go and find all the best doctors in the city. Yan Beiqing's face was anxious, and his eyes were worried. As soon as a word fell, he couldn't help rushing out of the door. Even Yan Moli, who was on the line of life and death in the room, ignored it. If there were any ministers present at this time, they would certainly criticize Yanbei City. But at this time, the people in the house were still in a critical situation, and no one could pay attention to them. And the bodyguard there, also don't want to care about the side, only eager to ask again, Your Highness, in the end, what's the matter? The flowers on the street seem to want to be in the spirit, and have no time to pay attention at all. Lu Zheng next to him pondered for a while, and then replied in a deep voice, the poison has been suppressed for several days. It should have been weakened a lot, so the medicine is mild. But at this time, the situation has changed. The toxicity is extremely fierce. At this time, it is a sign of antiphagy. Is there any way to save it? The bodyguard was shocked and asked in a hurry. Lu Zheng glanced at the flowers on the street, raised his hand and shook her eyes. Seeing that she had come back to herself, he said, Princess, although my medical skills are not very good, I have been studying this poison for several days. I have some understanding. Why don't you and I join hands to see if there is a way to save it? For eyes opposite, Mo Shanghua clearly in Lu Zheng's eyes to see a bit of side look, immediately understanding came over, with the nod, Wei, the following things need us two to complete together, others can't be present, you also retreat. Well, I'll go down and guard outside. If you need anything, I'll tell you. When the bodyguard heard the words, he was not suspicious and answered them directly. Seeing this, I can't help but be surprised. This bodyguard is very defensive to everything in the palace. She thought that persuading him would waste some kung fu, but Yan Moli obviously can't wait any longer. She is thinking that if she can't do it, she will just give him a slap, but she didn't expect it to be so simple. However, the more suspicious she was. It's just that it's not the time to think about these things. Creak, a sound of closing the door. She also did not care about the other side, busy while acupuncture bag quickly unfolded, while taking out a few, while the rest to Lu Zheng, he is now highly toxic attack heart and lung has been damaged, quick, you and I 2 division of labor, with acupuncture method to protect the heart. Lu Zheng also has this idea in his heart. When he hears the words, he takes the silver needle and, together with Mo Shanghua, applies the needle to Yan Mo's naked chest. Mo Shanghua and Lu Zheng only discussed medical skills together before, but if they really cooperate to save people, it's the first time, and it's such an important event. If they are careless, Yan Moli will die. At that time, they will be in great trouble. Mo Shanghua thought of this layer, and her hand movements were more cautious. Before each injection, she would make eye contact with Lu Zheng to confirm that they had done it correctly. So was Lu Zheng. Both of them are very skillful in medicine, and their cooperation is quite good. After a cup of tea, the needle has been applied. It's just a bad plan to protect the heart. It can only last for 3 hours. At that time, the poison on Yen Moli's body was not restrained. He was still rampant on his body. He just stopped the blood flowing from the 7 orifices. But, how to detoxify next? Let Mo Shanghua also make a mistake for a while. After a long silence, she said in a low voice, now he has 3 kinds of poisons in his body, and they have been rampant. Especially that one is extremely overbearing. The poisons you used before have been almost eliminated. For a long time, they can't be compared with that one. I'm afraid it's difficult to fight with them. If others were present at this time, they would be shocked to hear the words of Mo Shanghua, and their jaw would be dislocated. Yen Moli's poisoning is well known, but what everyone knows is only one kind of poison. How can there be 3 kinds now? It's too far from the truth. In fact, Mo Shanghua did not expect that things would turn out like this in the end. In the past few days, she has been deliberately dragging Yen Moli to be tortured by the poison for a long time. When there is no longer time to delay, she comes to rescue him. When detoxifying, she also deliberately stimulates the poison and slows down the speed. She can be familiar with the medical skills of flowers. Why is detoxification so troublesome? What's more, she has an antidote in her hand, so she doesn't need to bother. Others may not understand, but Lu Zheng is clear. She before that, in fact, are useless, the only role, just let Yen Moli extremely suffer. Mo Shanghua thinks that she can't get revenge now, so she torments him well. Of course, it's not enough just to do these. Since Yen Moli threatened her and provoked her to follow Yen Moli, she naturally wanted to develop a pair of side poison to add more materials to him. The poison she came from was very careful. She would not be able to resist the poison he had been poisoned before, and the dormancy period was very long. If she didn't meet a flower named Iris, she would never have an attack in her whole life, and the flower only existed in Yuzhou and other border areas, not in the imperial city. She has already calculated everything. When she wants to revenge in the future, she can stimulate the toxicity of the poison at any time, so as to achieve her goal. In the last bowl of detoxification medicine, it was her good poison. She calculated all these very well, but she never thought that there was a kind of poison in Yen Moli's body, which was very deep. If it wasn't for her poison today, she would not be able to detect it. And this poison is extremely powerful. Her poison is warm, and the previous poison is almost scattered. I'm afraid it can't compete at all. If you can't find a way to solve it, Yen Moli will die, but this is not the time for him to die. Moreover, she is more convinced that Yen Moli is afraid that this poison has been known for a long time, and deliberately conceals it. She is afraid that just waiting for this step will force her to help him untie the poison that has been bothering him for a long time. He really didn't care for himself, and he thought of such a way to die. Thinking of this, I can't help but scratch a light mockery in my flower eyes, and my face is very condensed. Lu Zheng also frowned and worried. After a while, he asked Mo Shanghua, can you show me the 3rd poison? This 3rd kind is just under the flowers. Lu Zheng's medical skills and talent are not inferior to those of Mo Shanghua. What's worse is only the age of his birth. Therefore, he can see the means of Mo Shanghua at a glance. Mo Shanghua was also aware of Lu Zheng's medical skills, so she was not surprised and didn't pretend to be stupid, so she simply took out the remaining poison. I added some stems of descending the center to the poison, and the other herbs were iris, green sword snake venom, Q. Lu Zheng listened to the words of flowers on the street, took the poison, looked down and sniffed. After a while, he put the medicine back and asked, is this poison solvable? Mo Shanghua gently lowered her chin and took down a pearl hairpin from her hair. She gently pressed the pearl on the hairpin between her fingers. The pearl the size of a small nail was divided into 2, and a red pill appeared in it. Lu Zheng some surprised looking at the flowers on the street, why do you want to close so close? Mo Shanghua's face did not change and handed over the antidote, this is not urgent, and the medicine is very expensive, so I only made 1 pill, which is easy to lose elsewhere. Originally, she was also careless. Lu Zhen couldn't help laughing. He felt inexplicably that this kind of flower on the street made him feel like he wanted to be close. But this is not the time to think about it. Mo Shanghua explained to him the use of the antidote and the nature of the drug just now. He also listened attentively and thought carefully. What's your opinion? See him thinking for a long time, Mo Shanghua just asked quietly. Lu Zhen shook his head and frowned. Your Highness's body is now empty to the extreme, and he is entangled by these three kinds of poisons. At present, the three kinds of poisons are fighting with each other. I'm afraid it's not good, especially the poison that you and I haven't found before. I'm afraid it's the most domineering, powerful medicine can't be used, and slow ineffective. Lu Zhen thought. Mo Shanghua naturally also thought, this want to hear Lu Zhen no other good way, see no, she can't help but fall into silence. After a long time, she raised her head again and spoke slowly, I can't wait any longer. After a long time, I'm afraid that she will swallow the other two flavors and form a new poison. I'm afraid it will be more difficult. I still have some roots and leaves of jianghe, but the effect of the roots and leaves is very little. Supplemented with baoxin pills I made earlier, they can barely hang my life. After a pause, the color of her eyes gradually deepened, and it was obvious that she had already determined this method. I'm trying to find a way to force these three kinds of poisons to all parts of the body with strong medicine, and break them in each part. Lu Zhen heard the words, but his eyebrows didn't stretch half, and his worry in his eyes was even more serious. If you want to force him to another place, 2 arms are the best, but I'm afraid that if you move a little slower, that arm will be terrible. There is no better way now. But Mo Shanghua didn't mean to waver, but I haven't said it early. There is another reason. I don't have a clue about how to separate the three kinds of poisons at present. The previous common method is not effective enough. If I change several main drugs, the property will change greatly. If it is. Speaking of the latter, she was already murmuring to herself, as if her mind had sunk. If we use external force to lead, we can save a lot of trouble and have fewer hidden dangers. When he was thinking about it, Lu Zhen suddenly thought of something. He took over the conversation and said, if there is a person with excellent internal skills to help, this method may be feasible. The flower eyebrows on the street are slightly frowning, and the face shows the color of incomprehension. After all, she comes from the 21st century, where she believes in science. Internal power does not exist in that world. She has just come to this world, so she naturally does not understand it very well. At that time, Yan Emoli, who was on the bed, hummed softly. His brow was tight and his face was in pain. He seemed to wake up at any time. Mo Shanghua grabs Yan Moli's wrist and makes a diagnosis between the wrists. The tiny frown suddenly turns into a ball. The toxicity deteriorates. There's no time to explain. Then follow this method. You will direct me in a moment. With that, he quickly went around to the table beside him, put his pen on the paper leaf, wrote a book, put all the herbs on the paper, and then added a prescription. When the book was finished, he quickly went to the door and called Qin Lin and Qin Ye over. First, he told Qin Ye, take this list and go to my room as soon as you can. Take all the medicines on it. Especially that one flavor. Don't forget it. Go as soon as you can. In a hurry, she spoke very fast. After that, she thought of Qin Ye's situation. She was afraid that she didn't understand the shape of her mouth. When she was about to say it again, she saw that Qin Ye just glanced at the guard with a sword in fear. She saw that he just frowned and didn't move. Then she quickly took the list, I'm going now. Said then blessing body, walking in a hurry toward the boudoir of the flower on the stranger. Qin Lin, you should follow this prescription and quickly go out to prepare the medicine. When you come back, you don't have to care about the cooking time. You just need to fry it. The faster, the better. Sent Qin Ye, Mo Shanghua put a prescription into Qin Lin's hands. Qin Lin's ears are still easy to use. He immediately nods and runs out of the house. How is your highness? See Mo Shanghua busy end, bodyguard then gather up to ask urgently again. The bodyguard tried to do harm to Qinya, but Mo Shanghua didn't give him a good face. He said with no expression, "I'll try my best to cure him. You can keep on guarding. Except for the servant girl, you can't let a mouse in." With that, he went back to the room and closed the door. Cough, cough. The South Crane is holding a bloody handkerchief in one hand and covering his chest in the other. He coughs violently. But I haven't seen her for a few days. Her face is as pale as paper, and she is dying. Yan Beiqing came in a hurry. When he saw that Nan he looked like this, his face became more ugly. He rushed to the front of the collapse and hugged her in his arms. "Nanner, what's the matter with you?" "I'm here. I'm here. You don't have to be afraid." Every move is carefully nervous, mixed with countless worries and tenderness. It seems that the woman in his arms is the treasure of his life. He can be infatuated with this woman. Seeing this, the maid doctor in a room knelt down all over the place, and no one dared to say more. Nanha leaned against Yan Beiqing. Yan Beiqing immediately took his hand and said, "I know that. Don't think about it. You will be fine. You will always be my concubine, so you must live well. If you can do this all the time looking at such a pair of eyes full of tenderness, Nanhe's heart can't help beating again." After a trance, he regained his mind again. He pinched his palm and told himself that it can't be like this all the time. It's all her fantasy. Thinking about this, she turned away from her eyes and continued to play the role of a dying man with tears in her eyes. "Lord, what is my virtue and what can I do?" Cough. Before she finished, she covered her lips with a handkerchief, frowning and coughing. When I took off the handkerchief, the plain white embroidered handkerchief had already been smeared with prickles, and the pale lips were stained with blood. Yan Beiqing's stable face suddenly changed. "The doctor I asked you to go to." His close friend quickly, Putong, knelt down and said, "Go back to the Lord," and the people who sent him said, "But all the famous doctors have been invited here for a long time. I can't find any better one." "Then go and find Lu Zheng for me. Go quickly." Yan Beiqing carefully embraces the South Crane in his arms, while holding a red cheek because of anger. The little boy dared not lift his head, and spoke cautiously, "Prince, Dr. Lu is treating his second highness with the princess." I'm afraid. Yan Beiqing's eyebrows leaped, obviously unable to suppress his whole body's anger. He was on the verge of wind and rain. Seeing this, Nanhe gently pinches his soft and weak hands in his palm. Yan Beiqing immediately looks at her and tries to suppress her anger. "Lord, don't be angry. It's good to let me talk to you alone." After a pause, her voice could not help but take some of her daughter's grievance state. "I haven't seen you for several days. I want to talk with more." Cough, cough, talk more. Yan Beiqing was silent for a long time, and then he nodded helplessly. His action was slow and heavy, as if he had made a major decision. "Everyone get out of here, and roll far away. If you quarrel with Wang and Mrs. Nan, you don't need your tongue and ears. In this way, is to give up as Mrs. Nan said? If so, this is the last word of Nanha." They were not stupid either. When they heard this, they immediately understood it and hurriedly backed out. Everyone hid far away. They didn't even dare to stay at the door. As everyone knows, at the moment when they retreat, the dark guards have quietly gone into the dark place and carefully checked everything around them. If anyone dares to eavesdrop, he will die immediately. In the house, Yan Beiqing's face turned away in an instant. A pair of deep and pitiless eyes gazed at Nanha, with a low voice, and just like two people, what happened in the end? So eager to set up such a stratagem to ask him to come, if it is not urgent, it really cannot be said. Seeing that Yan Beiqing was changing so fast, Nanhe didn't have much emotion on his face. He turned over and came down from the bed. He felt for a while on the carving fence, pressed a mechanism, and a slight sound came out of the bed. She went forward to lift half of the sheet and quilt together, and a deep corridor suddenly appeared. "It's urgent, sir. Please talk as you walk." Even though things are already burning, she is still calm and orderly. Yan Beiqing nodded his chin and turned directly into the secret passage. He followed him and went into the secret passage. By the way, he closed the mechanism between the beds, and the bed immediately restored its original appearance. At that time, Qin Lin and Qin Ye had already sent in what Mo Shanghua had told them. After Lu Zheng had handled it carefully, he put all the things on the table beside the bed. If necessary, he could get the things on the table with a little raise. Yan Moli was sitting cross-legged on the collapse by Mo Shanghua and Lu Zheng. He was still half-dressed. The difference was that Mo Shanghua also sat cross-legged behind him. When you gather internal forces in your fingers, the qi you gather must be pure and warm in the depths of the elixir field. You can't have too much or too little. There are few mistakes. Not only internal forces, but also elixir field will be damaged. Your Highness can't stand the toss. Lu Zheng was sitting in front of Yan Mo Li, his face was rigorous, and even his former mild manner was diluted a lot. Mo Shanghua gently nodded, but did not immediately do according to the words, but put the acupuncture bag on the side of Lu Zheng's body. You'll need acupuncture later. I've soaked this silver needle with liquor and astragalus before. It's good for the acupuncture later. You can use this for the time being. Lu Zheng doesn't waste time either. He simply takes it over and looks at Mo Shanghua. They both nod to each other to show that they are ready. Then, the flower on the street dozed off slightly, put his hands in front of the dantian, and slowly felt his inner power in the dantian. Lu Zhenggang's method seems to be simple, but in fact, it also requires talents with rich internal power. It's extremely dangerous, just like Yan Beiqing. But Mo Shanghua specializes in close combat and poison medicine. Internal power is something unique in the world. She has not practiced for long. Although she has excellent talent, her internal power is still not mellow. At the moment, Yan Beiqing is deliberately supported. Even if she doesn't have enough internal power, she has to survive. At most, the risk is greater. She believe in yourself. When Lu Zheng saw that her face was not relaxed, he could not help but worry. After thinking about it, he slowed down his voice and quietly guided her, hold your breath and concentrate, your heart sink into the elixir field, inner harmony. Mo Shanghua collects all of Lu Zheng's words into his ears. As his words begin to adjust his current method of use, the internal force in dantian is just in disorder, and immediately returns to the cage. Then, it's like peeling off the cocoon, a trace of a very methodical start to slowly separate, such as the onion layer by layer peeling process. With Lu Zheng's guidance, Mo Shanghua was really successful. Although it took some time, he also successfully concentrated his internal power between his fingers. When she saw that the time had come, she opened her eyes quickly, turned her fingers quickly, and quickly put a little bit above sinew. Then she distributed her internal power to the whole palm, and slowly carried it from sinew to jianyu with the power of the palm. At this time, her hand movement was a meal, and she raised her eyes to look at Lu Zheng. Lu Zheng had already pinched the silver needle in his hand. When he saw Mo Shanghua looking at him, he immediately realized that he would drop his eyes and apply the silver needle to the place of baiyu corresponding to sinew. He was skilled in the array and had no mistake in strength. Then he quickly nodded to Mo Shanghua. Mo Shanghua is also aware of this idea. She swims her palm down and slowly slides between her arms. When she reaches the bend of her arms, she suddenly stops, turns her palm into a finger, turns her hand over, and then moves a little between her arms, and then at her elbow. In this way, the qi acupoints would burst open. In addition, Lu Zheng was assisted by silver needles to seal the acupoints. In this way, he was forced to Yan Mo Li's left forearm without clearing the remaining poison. After finishing these, Mo Shanghua did not dare to rest for a moment, and then continued to force the other two poisons to other places. The latter two poisons are all strange poisons. It's hard to take them out alone. Now they are fighting in Yan Mo Li's body again. It's quite hard to separate them. Many times, the flowers on the street are sweating and their eyebrows are tightly twisted. Seeing this, Lu Zheng raised his hand to take a porcelain vase, took out 2 pills with detoxification effect, fed them into Yan Moli's mouth, and then pricked the acupoints with silver needles to promote the development of medicine. Although the Jiedu pill could not solve the 2 kinds of poisons, it also succeeded in stopping the fight between the 2 kinds of poisons and resisting the drug properties of the Jiedu pill. As a result, the pressure on Mo Shenghua's side was also reduced. After a while, he separated the 2 kinds of poison and forced them into the rest of his legs. Yan Moli never had a half reaction, just a thin sweat between his forehead. It can be seen that he was unconscious, and his pain was no less. Mo Shenghua doesn't care whether he is in pain or not. After all, this is her enemy. In her eyes, as long as he doesn't die. Now the most important thing is to lead the internal force back into the body. Lu Zhen continued to give guidance in a low voice, while Mo Shenghua listened to his guidance and slowly led the internal force back to his body. Originally, with the previous experience, the process was smooth, but when it came to condensing the scattered internal forces again, it was quite laborious. After a long time, the internal forces could not be successfully brought back. His forehead was full and white, and his palms were sticky. She can clearly feel that the internal force in the dantian has been in disorder because it hasn't been coagulated for a long time. If it goes on like this, it will be greatly damaged. Seal my back hole, block. In a hurry, the flowers on the street are eager to open their lips. Lu's face suddenly became aware of the seriousness of the matter. He quickly went around to the back of Mo Shenghua and stabbed her acupoints with a silver needle. Mo Shenghua's thin body trembled slightly, and then there was no response. After a long time, she opened her eyes again. It was clear that her eyes were as clear as glass, but the bottom of her eyes was as quiet as an ancient well, with no mood fluctuation. Such appearance, nature can't see whether there is injury in the end. Lu Zhenmao inside worry even more, busy ask away, Yu Hao, is an internal power disorder, quick let me see. Say, want to catch the hand of Mo Shenghua, come to diagnose personally. Mo Shenghua directly retracted the wrist and gently shook his head, I'm okay. He can't drag it here. You remove the remaining poison between the wrists first, and I'll get rid of the poison I laid. Mo Shenghua's action made Lu Zheng's hands shake in the air. Now it's really embarrassing. Seeing Mo Shenghua open the topic, he nodded, okay, that's it. Say, press down the depression in the heart, turn over to come down from the bed, will Yan Mo Li's body again on the bed. The flowers on the street also collapsed. Take out the antidote and melt it into water. Then take out a special candle and burn it on the candle. Wax is ordinary red wax, but this wax core is extraordinary. It is made of moshang flower mixed with jewel, Schisandra chinensis, nanua and other medicinal materials. It is burned into a candle and quenched on the silver needle. It has the effect of clearing away heat, dampness and cold. It also has its own effect of inducing poison. After quenching, she dipped the silver needle in the hydrated antidote for a while, and then she inserted the silver needle according to the order of acupoints. Then, she waited for the toxin to come out of her body. Lu Zheng's prescription is much simpler because it only cleans up the remaining poison. He only needs to prick his fingers with a silver needle and take out the blood with the remaining poison. The entrance of the corridor seems narrow, but the interior is spacious enough. There is no problem for them to walk side by side. If in the past, Nanhe was afraid that she still wanted to walk with Yan Beiqing side by side, but now, she just keeps the etiquette, and always takes a step behind him. As he walked along, he said in a deep voice, Lord, the people who escaped from the central government a few days ago somehow went to Yuzhou city and ambushed and killed many of our people. Some of them fled into the city and took some refugees from rebel areas. Now they have gathered in the west of the city and have quarreled with the city guards. It seems that they are going to break through. And the Qinghuan pavilion of young Master Hua was set on fire. Now the situation is not clear. This is a big gift for me. Yan Beiqing's eye color deepened instantly, like a little ink dripping into a spring, rendering up a dangerous dark ink layer upon layer. In order to protect the imperial city, there is no doubt that the whole Yuzhou city is under the control of the emperor or other people. Even his close friends are from the imperial city. Today, things seem simple, but they are not. He remembers that there seems to be Yen Moli among the bodyguards in the west of the city. If he deliberately killed a few vagrants by means of the vagrants, he could be stabbed to death with the pen of Yanguan. If Yen Moli had a serial strategy to summon him back to the imperial city, it would be a real event. Yen Moli is really an enemy. Nanha continued, several counselors are waiting in the martial arts school now. They just wait for the master to take charge of the overall situation. I see. Yen Beiqing gently lowered his chin and kept walking at his feet. In a flash, his mind was clear. He was like weaving brocade, laying out a detailed solution. When he got to the door of the secret room, he stopped and said in an emotionless voice, "You go back first. If there is any change, you should be flexible first." "Yes, I do." South Crane did not hesitate, should come down, as if to restore the former obedient little follower in front of him, without half a cent, now as a leader of the Cold Pride. Yen Beiqing didn't pay attention to her changes. He just heard a light hum and then carried her into the secret room. In the secret room, all the counselors had gathered at this time, waiting for Yen Beiqing to take charge of the overall situation. As for the South Crane, since Yen Beiqing left her sight, her unwilling and resentment in her eyes showed a bit, and her delicate cheek, which had no expression, seemed to be in a strange state. Lu Zheng saw that the color of blood from the pinhole between Yen Mo's 5 fingers had changed from black-red to bright red. He frowned and took off his sword eyebrows. Then he calmed down. "The remaining poison has been cleared. You need me to do it here." Mo Shanghua shakes her head and her eyebrows are full of Zhuang Ning's state. The silver needle she used this time was also specially made. The middle of the silver needle was hollow. At that time, the same black blood beads began to flow out along the hollow part of the silver needle. With the passage of time, the blood gradually turned bright red. The color of Prudence on the flower's face on the street just reduced a bit, took off the silver needle, cleaned up the dirty blood on Yen Mo Li's leg, and constantly felt for Yen Mo Li. Although the poison has been removed, there are still some remaining poisons in other parts of the body. The flowers on the street are whispering, but half of them are anxious. Lu Zheng didn't think much about the reason why Mo Shanghua always refused to show her emotion. He only said in distress, "I've just had some trouble. The remaining poison needs to be treated slowly. What's more, the remaining poison must have been unable to compete with the remaining virulence in the Second Highness's body. If you let the remaining poison go, it will devour the remaining poison. At that time, I'm afraid the poison will become more and more uncontrollable, so it's really impossible to solve it." Said, the eyes cage on a layer of sad color, a pair of very headache appearance. The flower on the street gathered eyebrows and lowered her eyes, and her calm eyes were constantly shining. For a long time, she suddenly lifted her eyes, and opened her lips calmly to the extreme. "Who said that she wanted to solve this poison for him?" Lu Zheng eyebrow had a jump, full of eyes surprised, "Don't understand." Mo Shanghua's eyebrows and eyes were still calm. "He set up a bureau, sent the king away, and deliberately asked me to give him treatment. Most of the poison was shameful. It took a lot of trouble. I just wanted to get rid of the poison." Unfortunately, Mo Shanghua didn't like to be restricted everywhere. After a pause, she stood up, picked up the rest of the slightly reduced grain, added some other hanging herbs, and said, "This poison, I don't want to give him solution. Qin Lin, go to boil these herbs with ginseng for 100 years, and send them immediately." "How is it, Your Highness?" "How is he now?" As soon as Mo Shanghua and Lu Zhenggang opened the door and walked out, the bodyguard hurriedly came forward and asked eagerly. At that time, it was dusk. Mo Shanghua glanced at the bodyguard lightly, then directly bypassed the bodyguard and continued to walk out. The bodyguard just wanted to stop Mo Shanghua and ask for a clear answer. Lu Zheng stood in front of him. Wen Xing explained, "Your Highness is okay now, but you can't see anyone now. When I go back, I'll ask the medicine boy to come and serve him." At that time, I'll let the medicine boy lead you in to visit. Remember, don't disturb me at this time. The bodyguard's face flashed some suspicious color. Just want to continue to ask. Lu Zheng also turned away. Half an hour later, I will let the medicine boy come. The bodyguard didn't understand the medical theory either. Now Lu Zheng said that, looking at their calm state, he thought that they didn't really dare to tell Yan Moli what to do, so he just sighed, sat down cross-legged at the door of the room and continued to guard. The flower on the street has been busy for 3 or 4 hours, and the tired state can be seen between the eyebrows, and the blood color on the lips is a little less. As soon as Qinya saw her appearance, she hurriedly stepped forward and put a thick cloak on her body. Princess, you see, your eyes are almost red. Are you very tired now? Are you hungry? If you don't, go back and have dinner first, then go to bed immediately. Mo Shanghua raised her hand and rubbed her temple. She had been strongly supporting her nerves. Then she relaxed a little bit. It's a little tired. Let's go. Let's go back and have a rest. As for dinner, I don't have to go anymore. I don't have any appetite now. After a pause, her face suddenly solidified. By the way, the Lord suddenly came out in the middle of the way. Do you know what he went to do? Qin Yazheng lowered his head to tie the cape with flowers. Hearing the words, he said without raising his head, the princess cares what he does. The prince manages everything every day. Maybe he is going to do something important. In his words, he was quite angry. Why are you so angry? On the street eyebrow tip tiny pick, in the heart faint feel wrong, like what bad things happened in general. Qinya changed her flat mouth, raised her small face and said, Princess, it's your body that matters now. You'd better go back with your maidservant and have a good rest. Said, around to one side, 2 hands holding the flowers on the road, walking forward. It's not very comfortable under the dazzling eyes on the street. I didn't think much when I saw it, so I nodded as if I had nothing. However, just after 2 steps, her steps stopped again. She grasped Qin Ya's wrist tightly in one hand, which made her eyes a little bigger, dignified and surprising. Qin Ya, your ears are okay. Lu Zheng face a shock, subconsciously block, if in this way to give him a drink, then he is good, the body will be greatly loss. Mo Shanghua moves in his hand, and suddenly he takes a cold and heartless color. What's with me? My purpose is to save his life. With that, he passed him directly and handed Qin Lin a package of medicine. Qin Lin took the medicine and went to do it. Lu Zheng was completely stunned. In front of him, he had never seen this merciless flower on the street. Now when he saw it suddenly, he could not help but feel it suddenly. In a moment, his heart was a complex mixture. In the end, what kind of gratitude and resentment can let her this indifferent as if all things in the world cannot attract her smile, so merciless? Or that's what she was. Just thinking about it, Mo Shanghua has started to unseal the last poison acupoint in Yan Moli's leg, and lead the poison back to its original position. Lu Zheng sees this, also just came back to God, busy come forward to help together. The process of leading the poison back is much simpler than before. As long as you untie the sealed acupoint, the poison will swim back by itself, and it's no trouble to get there. Not long after that, Qin Lin took Guo Kai's boiled decoction, and Mo Shanghua simply and rudely fed Yan Moli, who was still unconscious, and then let the poison devour the remaining poison of Fang Kai wantonly. When the remaining poison was swallowed, she would not hesitate to consume her internal power again, and forcibly suppress the poison, making it lurk in her body as before. The difference is that the poison would not have been attacked if it had not had a chance before, but now, Mo Shanghua deliberately did something in it, and the poison will attack once every 2 months at the beginning of the month. At the time of attack, the 7 orifices bleed, the limbs twitch, and the whole body aches violently, which is absolutely worse than death. This is the interest that Yan Mo calculated that she would spend money with him. How is it, Your Highness? How is he now? As soon as Mo Shanghua and Lu Zhenggang opened the door and walked out, the bodyguard hurriedly came forward and asked eagerly. At that time, it was dusk. Mo Shanghua glanced at the bodyguard lightly, then directly bypassed the bodyguard and continued to walk out. The bodyguard just wanted to stop Mo Shanghua and ask for a clear answer. Lu Jing stood in front of him. Wen Xing explained, Your Highness is okay now, but you can't see anyone now. When I go back, I'll ask the medicine boy to come and serve him. At that time, I'll let the medicine boy lead you in to visit. Remember, don't disturb me at this time. The bodyguard's face flashed some suspicious color. Just want to continue to ask. Lu Jing also turned away. Half an hour later, I will let the medicine boy come. The bodyguard didn't understand the medical theory either. Now Lu Jing said that, looking at their calm state, he thought that they didn't really dare to tell Yan Moli what to do, so he just sighed, sat down cross-legged at the door of the room and continued to guard. The flower on the street has been busy for 3 or 4 hours, and the tired state can be seen between the eyebrows, and the blood color on the lips is a little less. As soon as Qinya saw her appearance, she hurriedly stepped forward and put a thick cloak on her body. Princess, you see, your eyes are almost red. Are you very tired now? Are you hungry? If you don't, go back and have dinner first, then go to bed immediately. Mo Shanghua raised her hand and rubbed her temple. She had been strongly supporting her nerves. Then she relaxed a little bit. It's a little tired. Let's go. Let's go back and have a rest. As for dinner, I don't have to go anymore. I don't have any appetite now. After a pause, her face suddenly solidified. By the way, the Lord suddenly came out in the middle of the way. Do you know what he went to do? Qin Yazhen lowered his head to tie the cape with flowers. Hearing the words, he said without raising his head, the princess cares what he does. The prince manages everything every day. Maybe he is going to do something important. In his words, he was quite angry. Why are you so angry? On the street eyebrow tip tiny pick, in the heart faint feel wrong, like what bad things happened in general. Qinya changed her flat mouth, raised her small face and said, Princess, it's your body that matters now. You'd better go back with your maidservant and have a good rest. Said, around to one side, 2 hands holding the flowers on the road, walking forward. It's not very comfortable under the dazzling eyes on the street. I didn't think much when I saw it, so I nodded as if I had nothing. However, just after 2 steps, her steps stopped again. She grasped Qin Ya's wrist tightly in one hand, which made her eyes a little bigger, dignified and surprising. Qin Ya, your ears are okay. Sue is too tired, spend to now just after knowing reaction come over. As usual, Qin Ya always looked at her mouth when she was talking, in order to know what she said. But just now, she has been bowing her head to tie her clothes. Without raising her head, she can connect her words without thinking about it. It must be that it has completely taken effect and made her recover her hearing. Thinking of this, she grasped Qin Ya's wrist hand, but she couldn't control her excitement. After all, just 2 days ago, she had reported that she might not be able to cure well. Now she is not only cured, but also has the effect ahead of time, which makes her not excited. There was a slight pain in her wrist, but Qin Ya didn't say a word. Her dissatisfaction and resentment disappeared. She only bit her lip, and tears gradually filled her eyes. She choked and said, that bastard bodyguard was ready when he wanted to kill me, but I'm afraid that I'll affect you. That's why she didn't say. My brother is happy for me. It's a happy thing. If you are crying, you can't say it. Mo Shanghua raised her hand to wipe away Qin Ya's tears from the corner of her eyes. She raised her eyes and looked around. If you don't tell me, I almost didn't remember. Qin Lin, has he recovered? Brother, he went to the dining room to urge people to prepare dinner for you. Mentioning this, Qin Ya's eyes could not help but let out a bit of worry. Princess, slaves have recovered. Brother, he should also be able to recover as I do, right? To tell you the truth, I dare not promise you that after all, you two have different physical conditions and diseases, but you can rest assured that you are at least 70% sure. She said, yes, it's less than 3 days now. My servant's ears should have recovered by luck. My brother will be fine. Why, Miss Qin's ears have not been able to hear clearly before. Qin Ya's voice has just dropped, and Lu Zhenkai, the bodyguard, has just been sent to follow him. He is surprised to hear Qin Ya's words, but he doesn't ask directly. After careful consideration, he opens his mouth politely. When talking to such a gentle person, even Qin Ya, who is usually a little hot-tempered, can't help slowing down her intonation and smiling. To tell you the truth, Dr. Lu, you said that the ear disease of the slave girl was born with. It's not that she can't hear clearly, but that she can't hear at all. Now it's good. I've never seen it before. Lu Zheng's eyes were filled with surprise. After a long time, he asked tentatively, "Don't you know lip language?" "Wait, what did you just say?" Up to now, Mo Shanghua's reaction came later, and her warm face suddenly appeared a huge shock. "Is it okay now?" Qin Yigang wanted to answer, but Mo Shanghua suddenly pinched her, but she said to Lu Yui, "There are still affairs to deal with in our hospital, and it's dark now. If you stay too long, it's hard to avoid criticism. If you are curious, it's not too late to talk tomorrow." Lu Zheng saw that Mo Shanghua said so. He thought of it later. He was so shocked and curious that he bowed his hand and said, "It's because I didn't think about it well. I'm going now. Don't be surprised." There is no color of blame on the flower face on the street. He just shakes his head and turns to leave without saying a word. Lu Zheng sees this. After seeing Mo Shanghua walk out for a distance, he just turns around, but he hasn't walked out for a few steps. Suddenly, a heavy object falls to the ground behind him. Then, Qin Ya cries out in panic, "Princess, princess, what's the matter with you, princess?" Lu Zheng's heart suddenly trembled. He turned around in a hurry and saw that the flower on the street had fallen to the ground. Qin Ya sat on one side and leaned half of her body on her lap. She couldn't see clearly. Lu Zheng's heart almost jumped out and ran to him. When he got close to him, he could see clearly that the flowers on the street, his eyes closed, and his mouth bleeding were bad. And Qin Ya, who was still learning how to treat the comatose patients, patted her face gently. Now she saw Lu Zheng coming, so she looked up. "Dr. Lu, come and see the princess." Lu Zheng's heart is only more urgent than Qin Ya's. Her voice is falling, so he squats down, grabs the flower on the street, a white wrist that can't hang on his side, and closes his eyes to feel his pulse. Su is concerned about chaos, his mood in a mess. It took a long time to calm down. Diagnosis of pulse phase. But the pulse, for him, was more terrifying than not being diagnosed. It turned out that she was still suffering from a serious internal injury. The internal force in the Dantian area seemed to have gathered again, but now it was scattered and rampant, pounding the Dantian and stirring the internal force. If it cannot be cured, the internal power will be lost in the light, and the heart will be injured in the heavy. This should have happened when she was still in the treatment. But she didn't reveal any of the pain of internal injury from the beginning to the end. She has endured it until now. How did she do it? No matter how he did it, Lu Zheng was worried and frightened to the extreme now. After he diagnosed his pulse, he immediately picked up the flower on the street without thinking about it, and quickly walked to the Wu Yuan. Qin Ya didn't care about anything at this time. She trotted to follow him. "I always have to take the road of incense, but now I only need incense to get to Wu Yuan." At this moment, Lu is holding the sleepy flowers back to the yard. The whole yard girls suddenly surrounded, chirping. Qin Ya tings anger, but also understand that at this time must not drive people away, otherwise, they must think that Lu Zheng and Mo Shanghua have an affair, out of the yard to nonsense. As a result, she directly lowered her face and said in a deep voice, "The princess has fainted outside. If you don't wait and make trouble here, don't you expect the princess to be better?" The face of a few wenches instantly white. Busy will head very low, a word also dare not say again. The Qi in Qin Ya's heart just obeyed a little, and then ordered, "All wait here, lest for a while the imperial Dr. Lu has something to need and can't call someone to help." "Yes." The girls were deterred by Qin Ya and didn't dare to say much. They answered quickly and stood in the bedroom waiting. Seeing this, Qin Ya hurried to the bedside, and her face was full of worry. What's the matter with Dr. Lu? What happened to the princess? Lu Xingxing took the silver needle to tie the flowers in the street. He didn't dare to be distracted, so he shook his head to signal Qinya to be quiet. Seeing this, Qinya had to clench her lips and pay close attention to Lu Zheng's movements. A drop of bright red blood appeared in the middle of the people who saw flowers on the street. Not to mention Qinya, even Lu's face was a condensation, fixed on her eyes. For a long time, the long and light lashes of the flowers on the street just flickered, slowly opened, and the look in the eyes was clear. You wake up, princess. See her open eyes, Lu Xing Qinya, two people almost at the same time voice, are all around the bed. Mo Shanghua didn't immediately answer the two people's words. She propped up her bed and half sat up. Then she took her left hand with her right hand and felt her pulse. You don't have to look at your current situation. It's terrible. I'm afraid you can't do it by yourself. I have to help you. When Lu Xing saw this, he didn't stop it, but his sword eyebrows were tightly wrinkled together. He was obviously worried. Mo Shanghua still insists on her own pulse, and then the result is exactly like what Lu Xing said. Her eyebrows can't help but slightly frown. She gently purses her lips. For a long time, she has no words. Originally, she planned to make a diagnosis and treatment by herself, but now that she has been seen by Lu Xing Qinya, she has no reason to keep it secret. When she just treated Yan Moli, she didn't treat herself. She had already missed the best opportunity. Now she wants to reorganize her internal power. With her current physical condition, she can't make up her mind without the help of a skilled person. The flowers on the street think about it, then they think of this layer. The willow eyebrows are tighter, almost twisted into a ball. Seeing that Mo Shanghua was in such a state, Qinya was anxious, so she quickly asked, Princess, what's the meaning of Lu Yui's words? What's your body like? Mo Shanghua gave her a reassuring look and comforted her, Dr. Lu will take care of me, and you will put your heart in your stomach. Lu Xing also nodded, Princess, now there is no more suitable doctor than me. Before Qin Yaxin had time to put it, there was a noise outside the door. Then, Yan Beiqing's close friends rushed in directly, and he followed two friends behind him. When he entered the house, he looked inside for a while. After giving a gift to the stranger, his eyes directly fell on Lu Zheng and said, Dr. Lu, Madame Nan is ill. All the doctors who come to see her say that they can't do it. The Lord appointed the servant to ask you to go there. Madame Nan can't delay. Please leave as soon as possible. Lu Zheng's sword eyebrows suddenly twisted, turned his eyes to see the flowers beside him, and said, Listen to you, there must be a good doctor there. I'm afraid it's inconvenient for me to go there. In other words, you can see what the princess looks like today. Can't I abandon her? The boy noticed the pale face of the flower on the street, and he was surprised. What's the matter with the princess? How can she look so ugly? Seeing his appearance, Qinya felt extremely affected. She turned cold and said, You have good eyesight, so you can see that the princess is not good. Mrs. Nan is the king's favorite. There are a large number of people who will serve her well. We can only ask Dr. Lu to move. Being ridiculed by Qinya in such a strange way, the boy was half angry, but he was embarrassed. Look at what the girl said. If those doctors are good at it, how dare they come here to harass the princess? After a pause, he looked at Dr. Lu and knelt down directly. Dr. Lu, Madame Nan is going to die. You are the most skilled doctor in Yuzhou. Besides you, I'm afraid no one can save Madame Nan. Besides, this is what the Lord asked you to do. If you don't go, I'm afraid the slaves' heads will be damaged. Lu Xing smell speech, complexion immediately a coagulate, really want to not. The boy busily opened his mouth and explained, all the famous doctors in the city have seen it. The Lord is red-eyed. Now he only guards the South Lady and refuses to let go. After a pause, the boy turned to see the flowers on the street, looking like he was about to cry. Princess, this is a fatal event, or would you like to invite the doctor next to you later? Before the flower on the street answered, Chinya hummed coldly and said angrily, the whole doctor of Yuzhou is almost with Mrs. Nan. Where do you want us to go? Chinya. The flower on the street whispered, and her eyes were quiet. She could not see any emotion. Since it's a fatal matter, then the Imperial Dr. Lu will follow me. As for me, please tell the Lord, and call the doctor who is free from Mrs. Nan to have a look. Lu's face sank a little, and his eyes worried even more, but your body, you. Dr. Lu, you'd better go as soon as possible. I'm fine here. A word is not finished, Mo Shenghua will directly interrupt his words, expressionless enunciation, attitude is very firm. The little boy was relieved. Seeing that Lu Zheng had no intention of getting angry, he hastened to say, Dr. Lu, you also know the temper of the Lord. Referring to Yan Beicheng, Lu Zheng's face just loosened a little. He reluctantly got up. When he turned around, he couldn't help whispering, take this first, it will help you to get sick. You can know the specific effect as soon as you ask. Said, will be a small porcelain vase into the hands of Mo Shenghua, and use the mouth to say 4 words, wait for me to come back. Then he had to leave with the boy. And just now all sorts of, including Mo Shenghua vomit blood faint, have been arranged by Yan Beicheng in the dark to protect Mo Shenghua in the eyes of the dark guard. Such a big thing, of course, was to inform Yan Beicheng, so one of the dark guards quickly and quietly avoided many dark guards in the house and went to the place of Nanha. After saying hello to the dark guard outside the hall of Nanha dormitory, the dark guard went to the hall smoothly. Unexpectedly, only Nanha met her, and Yan Beicheng was not seen. Sister Nanha, the Lord is not here. How? Comfort thought over the words and asked as politely as possible. At this time, the South Crane always looks slightly different from before, and the whole person looks calm. Therefore, the Dark Way hesitates and asks. A few days ago, Yanbei City punished Nanha. The real reason is that he didn't let out half a cent. It's common sense that the secret guard didn't know. Something happened. I just had to set up a situation for the Lord to get away from His Second Highness. The Lord is still dealing with things. The South Crane's face was quiet, and he began to explain in an orderly way. After a pause, he asked casually, are you here? What's the matter with the princess? At present, she is in a state of blockade. The news from outside can't come in. Naturally, she doesn't know anything. Darkway nodded, but didn't tell the truth directly, only said, the Lord has ordered, if the princess has something to do, then immediately report to him, the Lord's orders, subordinates dare not follow. Sister Nanha, do you know where the Lord is now? I'll go to find him and report to him. South Crane peach blossom like delicate eyebrows and eyes quietly across a touch of dark color, the face shows helpless color, the specific location of the Lord, I do not know now, I am afraid that I cannot help. Darkway brow immediately tightly ring up, seemed to be very distressed appearance. Look at you, what's going on? Seeing this, Nan he turned his face and let out a little curiosity. Darkway neither denied, also did not admit, be regarded as acquiescence. The South Crane face immediately took the color of thinking, pondered for a while, then tentatively asked, you have been following the princess, is it not that the princess has an accident, if not, how can it be so urgent? Sister Nanha is so smart that I can't hide it from you. It's true that something happened to the princess. Since Her Second Highness came out of the room, the princess vomited blood and fainted. The Lord told her to take good care. If there's anything wrong, she should report it immediately. That's why my subordinates are so anxious. The Dark Way sees that he simply can't hide it, so he simply tells the whole story. So it is. The South Crane nods gently, there is no unexpected color in the eyes, so, you go back to see the princess's condition first, I continue to wait for the Lord here, after the Lord comes back, I will tell you immediately. The Lord is pure and clear, and I don't think you will be blamed. This. Darkway doesn't dare to agree to come down directly, the speech is quite embarrassed of state, after all, that last time of affair he also remember clearly. Seeing this, the South Crane's eyes and eyebrows softened and turned a little annoyed. Don't you believe me? Then, without waiting for the Dark Guard's reply, she continued, I love the Lord, and the whole Dark Guard camp knows it, but don't forget that I'm also a member of the Dark Guard camp. I'm not stupid enough to suppress the news and make the winner unhappy. After hearing this, the Secret Way can't help thinking that although he has some thoughts about Wang Yi, he has never used his spirit to do things. If she really suppresses this matter, when the Lord blames him, he will tell the truth, but he doesn't have to be afraid. Thinking about this, the Dark Way also put a few distractions in his heart, so he quickly lowered his head. Sister Nanha, if you're not there, you're just afraid that the Lord will blame you, so you're hesitant. But with Sister's words, the subordinates also understand a lot, so it's according to Sister's words. South Crane nodded, complexion slightly eased. I will try to contact the Lord as soon as possible, you go. Yes. The Dark Way bent over and gave a salute, then quickly retreated. This Dark Way front foot just left, back foot, the small SI then took Lu Jing to sleep outside the hall. In front of the gate are the two maidservants who are arranged by Yan Beiqing to watch Nanha. When they see Lu Jing coming, they stop them. One of them looked at the four of them and said, the Lord has ordered that only Dr. Lu will be allowed to enter. The rest of them will not disturb Mrs. Nan. Yes. Dr. Lu, please. C wait for a person to retreat, maid just opened a door, let open a way come. Standing at the door, you can see only 1 or 8 elegant screens of pear trees and the strong smell of medicine that only people who take medicine all the year round can have in the house. More importantly, it's a weird atmosphere. Lu Jing couldn't help sinking in his heart. He stood at the door for a moment and then stepped into the room. It seems that something is really wrong. Now he really has to go and have a look, and he has to go and return as soon as possible. The medicine is not enough to help the flower turn. He has to help her. Lu Jing just walked for a short time. The flower on the street felt that the dantian was another internal force, and his qi and blood suddenly choked up, and a big mouthful of blood suddenly spewed out. However, she just took the handkerchief to wipe the blood stains on her lips, but there was no big wave on her face, as if she had just coughed a few times. Qinya was scared out of her wits. She knelt down beside the bed in excitement. Princess. I can't die. It's okay. Flowers on the street will flow into the throat of the blood to swallow, just lightly spit out a word. Qinya sniffed and worried, you've just vomited blood twice. How can it be okay? Don't cheat me like this. You wait. I'll go and find Dr. Lu. Before I got up, I was grabbed by Mo Shenghua's wrist and pressed back, don't go. Qinya turned her head, and saw the cold eyes and pale lips of the flowers on the street. Her eyes suddenly turned red. Princess, you are like this. I really don't understand why I have to go to Lu Yui. Madam Nanan, I tried to set you up. What's the trouble for you? It's none of my business whether she's dead or alive. Mo Shanghua sees that Qinya is really puzzled. To avoid her impulsive action, she explains, I let Lu Jing go because he has gone. He will definitely mention my situation to the king. I want to tell him what I want to do with that little fellow. Qinya, I don't know what I think now, but I just want him to know now. Qinya listened to of don't understand, this love affair, she is small wench, in the heart is also unclear. After thinking for a long time, she said, does the princess want to test the sincerity of the prince? Mo Shanghua was silent for a long time. Then she lowered her eyelashes and covered her eyes. Nan, he told me before that the relationship between her and Wang Yi is not simple on the surface. I just want to see how it is. In this way, I can deal with her more easily in the future. Her mind now is more complicated than the internal force in the elixir field. Qinya just called it a tentative word. It was just a sudden movement in her brain that she said it. In fact, she didn't understand it very well. She just said it when she wanted to. Now Qinya asked this question, but she couldn't answer it, so she said it casually. Don't want to, Chinya still automatically attributed her words to her. This stone heart finally cracked, in the heart happy and worried, but you are not taking your own life in the block. Just now, Dr. Lu said that he must help you. Mo Shanghua took in her heart and threw the bloody handkerchief aside. Her face recovered as usual. Don't you forget my medical skills. I know the princess's medical skill naturally, but I still don't feel at ease. Chinya nods and shakes her head. She is worried. I don't know if I'm reliable. Otherwise, I'll call the doctor you asked him to bring here and let them treat you together. Dr. Lu, if you can't come back, don't worry about it. Your injury should be serious. Even if they come, I won't let them treat them. Mo Shanghua shakes her head gently, pauses for a while, and then explains, what I suffer from is internal injury. I can't spread it to others. If I am diagnosed by them, I will be in trouble. I can do it myself, and you just have to listen to me now. Said, toward her cast a reassuring look, I believe in themselves, you have to believe me. Although the words were mild, Chinya knew that she couldn't resist the firm character of Mo Shanghua, so she only nodded, okay, princess, you can tell me, but I will do my best. Mo Shanghua sees this, then also sync the mind, the complexion is calm of command, now, go to take out the ginseng slice in my cabinet, and this sparse attack pill, you also took ground powder, mix with lily powder to make together. Although Lu Zheng has long expected that things are not simple, now sees South Crane actually good standing in front of him, or can't help but wonder, South Lady, aren't you? The South Crane complexion is steady, calmly opens a mouth, exactly how unimportant, the important thing is, you must accompany me to play a play with Wang Yi. Lu Zheng's sword eyebrows slightly twisted, his heart jumped inexplicably, and he felt a little uneasy. He pondered for a long time and said, I'm all ears. Mo Shanghua took a pill given by Lu Zheng, and then put the ginseng tablet in her mouth. She sat on the bed with her knees crossed, and put her hands on her knees. She began to regulate her internal power. In order to avoid waiting for what happened no one to take care of, Chinya will be far away in the side, nervous looking at the flowers. It's not easy for Mo Shanghua to regulate her internal power. Besides, she has a lot of internal damage now. Before she has time to cure it, she has to suppress her disordered internal power by herself. In this way, she has to work harder and harder until midnight. For a few hours, the flowers on the street were all sitting in front of the collapse. Just when Chinya thought that she would sit like this all night, she naturally stretched her hair and thin eyebrows, but suddenly frowned tightly. Her body trembled 2 times, and then she fell on the couch like a jerk. Princess, princess. Chinya quickly steps to the front of the collapse and half lifts the body of the stranger's home. She just saw that the flower on the street had been in a coma, and her face looked the same as just now, but the inner circle of the lip petal had been stained with red and dazzling blood, which she had endured for a long time. Chinya explored the nose of the flower on the street, and suddenly her face changed greatly. At this time, the flower on the street was not as steady as before. She put the flowers on the bed and ran out of the room. Qin Lin had already come back from the dining room. After Chinya explained everything to him, he kept at the door. Seeing that Chinya didn't say hello at the moment, he ran out so rashly. He felt bad in his heart and rushed into the room. Seeing the situation in the room, his face also changed greatly. He also went forward in a hurry and explored the nose of flowers in the street. He felt that he was still breathing. Then he was a little relieved. Thinking of Chinya's appearance just now, he probably guessed what Chinya was going to do in such a hurry. He tried to make herself calm. He simply went back and closed the door again. Before turning back to the flower on the street, he just stayed in front of the collapse. His eyes were fixed on the flower on the street, so that she could not be surprised again. And here of Chinya, in her heart no now this point, please don't come to the doctor, then straight to the South Crane yard. At that time, Lu Zheng, who had been invited by him, was waiting far away from the dormitory. He was sleepy with his eyes. When he saw Chinya's rush, his eyebrows jumped violently, and he woke up 7 or 8 minutes. He was too busy to stop him. Unexpectedly, Chinya ran so fast that he almost didn't stop him. He ran into him directly. They both fell to the ground because of the collision. "Oh, my aunt, what are you doing?" Xiaoxi takes a deep breath, pushes Chinya away and starts to complain. Before he touched Chinya's hand, she got up by herself. When she saw his face clearly, her pretty face suddenly became cold. "Get out of the way, I want to see the Lord." The young man quickly beckoned the two people behind him to block the way. There was no gap in the past. "Miss Chinya, it's not that I don't want to let you go. It's just that the Lord has given a death order. If we disturb the Dr. Lu, we can't afford to pay for our lives. In other words, I let you in, but there are two maids in the door. You can't get in. What do you want? Tell me about it. I can get through to you." This little fellow is obviously not a dull person. Seeing that Chinya is very angry, he doesn't conflict with her. He is still a good-natured explanation. Chinya sneered, but she didn't even try to break in. She directly sneered, "No wonder everyone in the house says you are smooth. Now I see you, and you really live up to your reputation." The smile on the boy's face was stiff for a moment, and he spoke unnaturally. "What do you mean, girl? Think for yourself. What I said just now is not for you." Chinya was even colder, so she didn't leave any affection. "Naturally, you are considerate of me, and you are also worried about the princess. The princess asked you to tell the prince earlier and send some doctors to serve him. But now it's midnight, and the princess is sick and unconscious, but you don't even see the shadow of half a doctor. You really have to work hard." The boy's face was a little ugly, but he thought that Chinya was a stranger, and that he was the one who was responsible for the loss, so he could only bear the unhappiness in his heart and compensate with a very smooth smile. "The girl said this, but she wronged me. Although I brought Lu Yui over, the Lord didn't let me wait at all, but I didn't even see the Lord's face. How can I talk with him?" Chinya snorted coldly, and her face was almost relieved. "Mrs. Nan's disease is a disease. Our princess is the most respected hostess in the mansion. According to the rules, it should be a top priority. If you really care, you should let people report to the prince. How can the prince always respect and spoil the princess?" I didn't expect that Chinya would tell me what happened in my heart. The boy's face turned black, and his fake smile was not there. He said in a deep voice, "Miss Chinya, I know you are wasting my time and learning so skillfully. But I can't let you in if you say flowers." Chinya's anger suddenly surged to her heart, glared at the housekeeper, raised her voice and said, "You are presumptuous. Now the princess is still in a coma. If you delay your illness, you can afford to pay for your dog's life." Just now, he was told by Chinya that he lost his face. He didn't want to talk in his dress. He said without a smile, "If you go in and disturb the king's favorite Lady Nan, it's also a death, and you'll lose money. In contrast, if you disturb the princess, you'll be loyal to your duty. I think the king will take it lightly." Qin Yajiao's cheek is red, and she gives the boy a hard look. Then she wants to rush in regardless. The boy asks the other two to stop him, and all of a sudden there is a lot of noise. Who's making noise outside? Silence AI hall suddenly sounded noise, in the inner hall of the South Crane eyebrow cannot help a see you, to the empty hall of words. In the hall, where no one should have answered, a dark guard, dressed in tight sleeves, jumped down from nowhere and leaned slightly in front of Nan He. It's the little girl beside the princess. It seems that she wants to break in. Nan He's light eyes deepened slightly, but there was nothing different on his face. It's just a little girl. You don't have to worry about it. If you really break in, just do what you should do. The dark Wei face has no facial expression of point head, is. At the end of the speech, the whole room disappeared quietly. Feeling that the house was completely quiet, Nanhou sat down beside himself, carrying a celadone cup, and his lips slightly raised. How can I not follow the Lord's orders? I'm afraid you didn't train your slaves well in ordinary times. This point intruder, but want to kill unforgivable, Mo Shanghua himself will send his right-hand man to the door. How can she so easily let her go back unharmed? And outside Qinya, regardless of the hard rushed past, the little guy stood on the side. See, also don't stop, but directly to the two are entangled with Qinya, make a wink. The two people just stopped Qinya from going in, but now they got the look of a little boy, so they had no patience and pushed her away. Qinya, after all, was a woman with a very thin constitution. Naturally, she could not stand the push of two men in their prime. She stepped back for several steps, and then fell to the ground. The little boy came to Qinya and said coldly, "Miss Qinya, if you don't go any more, don't blame us for being rude. The floor is paved with bluestone." Qin Yatan fell down with all kinds of meat and vegetables. His knees hurt. He even struggled to stand up. I think he broke his flesh. Qinya glared angrily at the boy for a long time, but she did not say a word. Instead, she struggled to get up and limped to the two boys who were blocking the way. The princess is still in a coma, and life and death are uncertain. He is not afraid of death. Are you not afraid? If you don't have his guts, get out of here. The two boys are obviously not as good as that boy's general mind. Qinya says that they are all in a meal and look at each other hesitantly. Taking advantage of this gap, Qinya quickly covered her ears. Her thin body nimbly drilled through the gap between the two people. Bearing the sharp pain of her knee, she limped and trotted towards the direction of the dormitory. What are you doing in a daze? Why don't you hurry back? When he saw this, he was very angry. A few people see this just returned to God, hurriedly pursued. As everyone knows, when several people approached the bedroom hall, the dark guard's eyes hidden in the dark were all over them. His right hand almost synchronously touched the short sword at his waist, and his murderous spirit suddenly appeared in his eyes. Qin Yasi didn't notice the danger. She still bit her teeth and went to the South lady's bedroom. At the moment, there is only one idea in her heart, that is to take Lu Jin back anyway, and the princess must not have anything to do. Who's talking outside? The dagger in the dark Wei's hand was about to be taken out, but at this time, the maid who had been guarding outside the bedroom suddenly came out, followed by Lu Jin with an urgent face. The dagger in the dark Wei's hand was put away at this moment, and his breath was hidden again. As before, he watched this side like a shadow. No one knows. As long as it's a little later, a woman will die here, and even the body can't be found in the capital. After hearing this, Qinya stepped forward and looked directly over the maid to Lu Jin behind her. Then she quickened her pace and knelt down in front of him with a puff. "Dr. Lu, I beg you. Please go to see my princess. Miss Qinya, get up quickly." Lu Jin noticed Qinya's limp when she was just walking. He quickly stepped forward and lifted her up. "I see you seem to have suffered some minor injuries on your leg. Don't kneel more. By the way, you are in such a hurry, but what's wrong with the princess?" Speaking of the back, his palms are unconsciously slightly tightened, his face worried. "Princess, she vomited blood again after you left. Now she is unconscious, and I don't know what's going on. Su has just suffered a lot of grievances." At first sight, when Lu Jin comes to rescue, Qinya has some grievances in her heart, and her eyes are slightly red. "Don't worry. I'm more worried than you. Come on, I'll go with you." Seeing this, Lu Jin could not hide his worries at the bottom of his eyes. He would follow Qinya to avoid the two maidservants. Looking at Lu Zheng's posture, the young man who chases after Qinya stops them. He looks back and orders them in a low voice. He retreats. The little boy just stepped down, but the maid who followed Lu Jin changed her face. "Dr. Lu, I'm only ordered to accompany you back to get things. If you leave at this time, don't you want my life?" Lu Jin thought about it, took off a sign from his waist and said, "It's urgent for the princess. I have to see the situation first." In this way, you can go to the traditional Chinese medicine hall of the mansion to get what you need, and then you can stay there for a while. After seeing the princess, I'll go to find you, and I'll go back together. I can't see anything unusual. The maid thought about it carefully. Although she knew that this method was feasible, she could not help hesitating when she thought about the consequences of being found. Qinya was in a hurry. Seeing that the maid was reluctant to speak, she grabbed Lu Zheng's sleeve and dragged him forward. I can't wait, Dr. Lu. Please follow me first. Please do as Dr. Lu says. After a while, she was a long way away. Seeing this, the maid didn't dare to shout and chase. She was punished because of the noise, so she had to compromise. When Lu Zheng goes back with Qinya, Qin Lin almost can't bear it. He wants to go out of the house to find a doctor. At this time, he suddenly sees that Qinya is coming with Lu Zheng. He stands up and signs to Lu Zheng to treat the flowers. Lu Zheng's eyes only stayed on Qin Lin for a moment, then fixed his eyes on the faint flowers behind him, and went away in a hurry. Even just all the way trot caused wheezing have no time to calm down, they can't wait to grab the flower's soft wrist, droop eyes pulse. Qin Lin and Qinya are all nervously gathered around the bed, trying to restrain their breathing for fear of disturbing Lu Zheng. As he expected, the situation is far worse than when he left. Just now, it was just internal breathing disorder. Now, she must have adjusted herself. As a result, she did not control it properly. As a result, her true qi leaked out and flowed into the meridians. She had already scattered around the meridians. If she had been dragging on for a long time, she would have rushed into the heart. By that time, she would surely die. Thinking of this, Lu Zheng's heart trembled again and his complexion was complicated. At present, the best and quickest way is for a person with profound internal power to help her sort out her internal power, and then lead her back to the dantian, and then he will help her pass the acupoints with silver needles, and the pills to recuperate internal injuries, and then she will get better. But he doesn't know how to do it. If we use other methods, absolutely not. That method is really dangerous. If you don't control it properly, your internal power will directly rush into your heart and lead to heart failure. Through the half-open screen window, Nanhe looks at Lu Zheng, who has already gone far with Qinya. It's a pity that there's a touch of sadness in his eyes. His eyes are deep and beautiful. So, it's time to invite the one back. Thinking of this, she closed the woodcut screen window, went back to the bed, opened the secret way and went in. He walked in the dark road for half an hour before he went out from another exit. At that time, she was already outside the city gate. Outside the city, which should have been dark and peaceful, it was already different from the past. There were people in chaos and the bodies of guards in the city. However, it seems that the battle has passed for a while. At this time, there are only some guards and doctors in the city who are cleaning up the remnants. South Crane carefully avoid guards, along the mark left by their people along the way, rhyme up lightness skills, find outside the city. When we arrived at a remote field in the suburb, we saw a small group of dark guards in dark clothes wrestling with more than a dozen disabled people, and the situation was very obvious. The group in dark clothes was obviously better than others, and the disabled people were just the end of the crossbow. The South Crane passes the Yenbei city not far away from the scuffle. The deep color of his eyes is covered at this time, and then he mentions the lightness skill. Lord. Nanha lowered his eyes, clasped his hands and opened his mouth respectfully, but his thin body was still as straight as pine and bamboo. Yen Beiqing covered his cheek in most of his cloak, and his thin lip opened slightly. What's the matter? Such a cold and emotionless voice makes Nanha feel different. She is very curious. If he knows the current situation of Mo Shenghua, what will happen? Although she thought so in her heart, she had no flaw in her face and said, the person who arranged for the princess came to report that the princess had vomited blood and was in a coma after she healed that one. Now the situation is unknown. Yen Beiqing's originally deep and cold eyes suddenly burst into waves, like ice, and storm eyes suddenly fell on Nanhe. What is the situation unknown? My king is not here, you can't even do this thing well. What about Lu Zheng? Did you send him? Lord, you forget, you told me that Dr. Lu had to stay at my place for one night to convince people. The South Crane's face remained unchanged and responded calmly. No one can see that her 2 hands on the side of her body have been tightly clenched into fists uncontrollably, and her heart has been depressed for a long time, and the pain has come out uncontrollably. She is entangled with her like silk thread, and she can't get rid of it. The funny thing is that she just thought she would never feel again, but she didn't expect it to be like this. It hurts. Well, this is also a reminder to her that she must not forget the pain of the flowers in the street. Even she did not know, her drooping eyebrows had been dyed with a bit of self-mockery. Fortunately, Yan Beiqing didn't pay attention to her expression. Now he began to see her pale face and incomparable weakness in his mind. Thinking about this, his pupils couldn't help shrinking violently, and he was worried more than ever. However, he did not blame the South Crane, but looked at the same Xuani people behind him, Mo-Ling, clean up. Yes. Mo-Ling had no objection and bowed down. As soon as Mo-Ling's voice fell, Yan Beiqing's body rose like a hurricane. In a flash, it fell on a fast horse and disappeared. After he returned to the house, he didn't have time to change his clothes, so he directly broke into the window of Mo Shanghua's room. Fortunately, at this time, Lu Zheng had invited Qin Linqinya out. Even so, Lu Zheng was surprised, and the silver needles in his hand almost pricked the wrong acupoints. Where did Yan Beiqing manage so much? He took off his cloak and quickly stepped to the front of the collapse. Why is she still sleeping? What's the situation now? Lu Zheng fixed his eyes and saw that it was Yanbei City. He was not surprised. He put down the silver needle and leaned over his luggage. Then he said, the princess has suffered internal injury. Now her internal breathing is disordered in the meridians. After a pause, his face was a little happy. Wei Chen was just about to make a bad plan. Since the prince came, it's better to help the princess comb her internal power first. In this way, Wei Chen can continue to treat.